If you like the story, you can support the author on Patreon. Link is in the description.
Chapter 81, Professional Arena and Actions. TV drama adaptation? That fast? My brain can't keep up anymore. It's not just Hojimori Group. The Go Association is backing him too. Honestly, Go hasn't been doing well here for years. Young people just watch anime, scroll short videos, play mobile games. Who still signs up to study Go? But since Hikaru no Go came out, the amount of attention to Go exploded. Even a manga did more for Go than the Go Association's entire year of paid promotions. Same. I wasn't interested in Go at all. After reading Hikaru no Go, I immediately signed up for a Thursday night online Go class. The teacher literally uses boards from the manga to explain moves. Imagining Sai, Hikaru, and Akira playing those exact patterns, suddenly a silent board becomes cool. I joined an offline dojo. Guess what? Half the students are middle schoolers who sit together discussing Hikaru no Go plot twists. A manga attracting kids to study Go, I never imagined it was possible. Shirogane-sensei is a genius. I can't even imagine what'll happen when the TV drama and anime air together. Families might go register for Go lessons together. Don't jinx it. A hit manga doesn't mean a hit adaptation. Plenty of live-action and anime adaptations flop. I just hope Hojimori picks a decent production company and doesn't make garbage. The animation studio is Shadow Realm Animation, a big name with solid reputation. As for the drama, yeah, casting and fidelity matter. By the next morning, the news had spread through Rei's entire school. It was a replay of the chaos from when his identity as a mangaka was first exposed. The school gate was once again blocked by fans, far more than usual. But this time, the school leadership was surprisingly enthusiastic. These 50- and 60-year-old educators usually looked down on manga and anime. But a student from their school having a manga adapted into both an anime and a TV drama, and even promoting Go, an intellectual sport? It instantly became a matter of school pride. So when Rei told the school leaders he might need to take leave because of the adaptation work, every single leader waved their hand. Go. Do whatever you need. The school would brag about him for decades. In the following weeks, Hikaru no Go dropped several transitional chapters. In the original version, Hikaru prepared to leave his school Go club, becoming an insight to pursue professional certification and catch up to Akira. But, this Japan doesn't have the insight system. So Rei had to restructure the arc. Instead of an insight program, this world has Go dojos, professional trainee systems, training camps run by professional players. They serve the same purpose, a gathering place for talented young Go players training full-time to qualify as professionals. Rei studied this real Go industry carefully, 30-36 new professional players per year, 5-10 new female professionals, 20+ new male professionals. About 10 major Go dojos nationwide, 1,000 total trainees across them, 700-800 certified professional players, 500 active pros at any given time. Small numbers, but frighteningly elite. Even the trainees, kids who haven't turned pro yet, are strong enough to dominate county and city-level amateur tournaments. Becoming a trainee is already entering the world of geniuses. Becoming a professional Go player? That's becoming a genius among geniuses. Naturally, in Rei's version, Hikaru lives in Motu. So Hikaru joins a Motu-based dojo. Rei even fictionalized the dojo's name slightly, to avoid copyright problems, but anyone in the Go world who saw the manga would instantly recognize which real dojo the story was modeled after. It was worth mentioning that Rei's partner, Rika, had successfully earned her professional rank after training in this very dojo. She naturally couldn't interfere with Rei's manga creation, but as Hikaru no Go grew more and more popular, she quietly fed Rei information, insights, and useful references about the dojo system. Rei immediately saw through her intent. She was advertising her master's dojo. After all, if the Hikaru no Go anime and drama became hits, the name of her dojo, even if Rei only used a homophonic fictional version, would gain tremendous exposure. Rei didn't mind helping her. As long as he avoided direct copyright issues, giving her dojo an indirect boost was hardly a big deal. After several new chapters were released, fans who originally knew nothing about Go industry were in complete shock. Wait, to become a professional Go player, you need to be strong enough to enter a dojo first, compete with 1,000 geniuses, and then fight for 30 pro spots a year. I wanted my son to learn Go after reading Hikaru no Go. I was too naive. That Kyo middle school captain who looked like a monster earlier, the 3-time Moto Campus champion, turns out he was a professional trainee too. And he quit because he couldn't keep up. Holy crap! This industry is brutal. Is Hikaru really going to survive this? Can he even become a professional Go player? Look at Akira, same age as Hikaru, and already a full professional. That's insane. But the reason Akira became a legend-like figure is exactly because he met Hikaru. He crushed him so hard that even he started doubting his talent. If I were Akira, Hikaru would also be my inner demon. Sai barely showed up these chapters. I miss him. No, but seriously, Hikaru slowly growing from a clueless kid into someone qualified to enter a dojo, it hits so hard. Feels like watching your own child grow up. What hurt me most was Hikaru's farewell to the school Go club, leaving them for the dojo created such a rift. Throughout June, Hikaru no Go released 5 chapters, cutting off the school Go club arc entirely. Rei shifted the viewpoint to the Moto dojo, Hikaru's rivalries with trainee prodigies, the harsh environment of young players aiming for professional rank. From chapter 18 to chapter 23, the rankings were 66566. The 1 week Hikaru hit rank 5. The spike happened in the chapter where Hikaru had a full emotional blowout. To prove his resolve, and that he deserved to enter the dojo, Hikaru accepted a simultaneous match against Tutsui, Kaga, Yuki. He beat Tutsui, Yuki. Then barely lost to Kaga. Fans cried their eyes out over the friendship drama, and that surge of emotion pushed the work to rank 5. But then, Hikaru was crushed again. In the next 2 chapters, Hikaru officially entered the dojo. And instantly he was destroyed, humiliated, outplayed, unable to keep up with prodigies trained since childhood. Fans felt it. Bro, I can't handle watching the protagonist get flattened like this. It's realistic but painful. Because of that emotional discomfort, votes dropped slightly, and the ranking slid back to 6th. No matter how much fans like a work, it still depends on the serialized plot. If the plot doesn't move them enough, the proportion of votes will naturally decrease. But overall, the national discussion and popularity of Hikaru no Go continued climbing without slowing down. And so, June quietly came to an end. 2 weeks remained before Rei finished his 2nd year of high school. Yet just when everyone thought the momentum would stabilize, Hikaru no Go dropped another explosive announcement at the end of the month. The production team officially declared that actor auditions for the Hikaru no Go live-action drama would begin in late June and run until early July. Filming was scheduled to begin in mid-July. And, if everything went smoothly, the first season of the live-action series was expected to air in October, right in the autumn broadcast slot. Even though Rei had personally discussed becoming a creative consultant with Hojimori Group, this level of speed still left him speechless. He knew Japan TV drama industry liked rushing, but this was absurd. Acting auditions announced. Filming starting in a few weeks. Broadcast this October. This wasn't normal production speed anymore. This was warp drive efficiency. Rei stared at the notice and almost doubted reality. Hojimori Group couldn't possibly push things this fast alone. Then, who else? He didn't need to think for more than a second. The Go Association. It had to be the Go Association deliberately pouring fuel on the fire. After witnessing how Hikaru no Go had boosted Go's visibility, after seeing Go classrooms across suddenly overflowing with kids, after seeing the youth enrollment rate jump nearly 40% in a single quarter. They must have realized, if we let the Hikaru no Go TV drama air at the same time the manga hits its peak, the influence will multiply. Chapter 82, Just One Step Away. After the announcement that the Hikaru no Go TV series had officially entered production, complete with a broadcast date, the enthusiasm of fans practically exploded overnight. But as always, questions surfaced along with the excitement. Only a little over 20 chapters have been serialized so far. Can that really support an entire first season? What are you worried about? 20 chapters of this manga equals 50 chapters of many other works. And TV dramas are filmed in real time. While the show airs, the manga keeps updating. It'll be fine. I still can't believe how fast things are moving. Shirogane-sensei really hit the jackpot. Hojimori Group wants to mold a genius, the Go Association is pushing like crazy, and now even big Go League investors are involved. No wonder things are moving like this. The animation side hasn't said anything yet, though. If they want to air in January, they're already deep in production. We'll hear something soon enough. My only concern is that Hikaru no Go's magazine ranking hasn't climbed recently. It kind of breaks my heart. Bro, the top works have been animated for ages and even have games. Their fanbases are insane. Wait until the TV series airs, that's when things will change. While those discussions continued, something else was heating up even faster, the audition roster. Forget everything else, who is going to play everyone? Same. But above all, Psy. How on earth are they casting Psy? Psy's presence is too ethereal. A normal actor won't have that aura. I don't need 100% accuracy, but at least give me 70-80%. By evening, REI's account comment section transformed into a battlefield of fans recommending actors. Some were sincere. Others were clearly actor stans invading the conversation. But everyone was reacting to one key line in the official announcement. REI is an official creative consultant, and his name appears very high in the staff list. Which meant he had real influence, not decorative influence. So when REI arrived at school the next morning, chaos. REI. Is it true Shiro might play Akira? My mom was obsessed with him 10 years ago. She made me ask you. Is Minato shortlisted for Akira? Don't you know who he is? He's everywhere right now. Who's playing Psy? I saw rumors about Itsuki. If it's true, please take me to the set. I need a photo with him. REI, help me get an autograph. We were so close in first year. Remember during midterms when I let you copy that huge math problem so you wouldn't fail? That one. You owe me. Someone online claims Hikaru's actor is already confirmed, is it true? From the first bell to lunch break, he was relentlessly surrounded, peppered with questions, and emotionally drained. By noon he escaped, half dead, and collapsed on the rooftop. A few seconds later, footsteps approached, light, smug, unmistakably amused. Mayu. She leaned against the railing, smiling like a cat who found cream. So? Being a genius manga artist isn't easy, is it? The greatest mistake of my life, REI muttered, face buried in his arms, was going on stage to accept that award. Dealing with them is more exhausting than drawing manga. She laughed softly. What did you expect? Hojimori Group wants to market you as a star creator. This was inevitable. REI groaned. Mayu continued, her voice softer now. But still, it's surreal. I remember this time last year, 5 centimeters per second had just finished serialization. 1 year later, Hikaru no Go is about to have an anime and a live-action drama. She gazed at him, half admiring, half teasing. REI, I wonder how many people in the entire manga industry are jealousy right now. I don't care about the opinions of people I don't even know. REI stood by the wall, looking down at the scattered high school students on the playground. Right now, they still have the energy to envy me and throw insults online. But in a few more years, they won't have the time or confidence to think that way. Mayu was stunned for a moment, then slowly understood what REI meant. Envy only exists when the gap looks small, when someone feels they still have a chance to catch up. But if the distance becomes overwhelmingly large, the idea of envy doesn't even appear. You're quite confident, Mayu said with a wry smile. All right, let's talk about what I actually came here for. My sister told me that during summer vacation, you'll be pouring a ton of energy into the Hikaru no Go animation and TV series production. Since you took the position of consultant, it's part of your job anyway. But I also heard you are planning to submit some original songs you composed to both production companies, hoping they'll use them as the opening and background tracks for the TV drama and anime. Is that actually true? That's right. REI nodded casually. Hey. Mayu's eyes widened. Wait, you're serious? You heard it from your sister and still didn't believe it. You, writing music. I admit your manga talent, but music talent? Don't go embarrassing yourself by handing over terrible songs that you think are masterpieces. REI shrugged. There are very few manga artists who get famous at 17, but plenty of musicians debut young. It's not that unbelievable, is it? And why do you care whether I embarrass myself in front of collaborators? Because that's unacceptable. Mayu shot back. You're the manga artist Hojimori Group is promoting with everything they've got. My goal used to be to become someone like you. If you get ridiculed, I'd feel second-hand humiliation. You don't need to worry, Rei said, smiling. I'm only providing demo tracks, but I'm confident they'll be chosen. Mayu folded her arms. And what makes you so sure? You'll understand once the Hikaru no Go TV series airs, Rei said. He remembered vividly the classic music tracks from the anime of his previous life, I'll Be the One, Hitomi no Shikara, Kimi no Buken, Get Over. Even though Rei himself wasn't a trained musician, the body's original owner was. With 8 or 9 years of childhood music education, drafting sheet music wasn't a problem. Naturally, the animation and drama production teams reacted politely but dismissively to his initial proposal. Rei could tell they didn't take his involvement in the music department seriously. But that didn't matter. Music, cast selection, character designs, these would all be decided at big production meetings. As a consultant, Rei would sit in on every one. Once they heard the tracks he planned to submit, their opinions would definitely change. After all, the Hikaru no Go anime soundtrack in his memory was iconic. He doubted either team could produce anything superior. June ended, and July arrived. Final exams were over. Rei stepped into what would be the last summer vacation of his high school life. Besides drawing the manga daily, he now had an additional routine, attending the actor auditions for the Hikaru no Go live-action drama, as requested by the production team. The director of the drama was Seiya, age 44. Across more than a decade of directing, he had completed 7 or 8 TV series, well-known, reliable, and experienced. Although Rei was given a high degree of respect in the casting process, he understood very well that the final choices weren't determined by him alone. Budget, scheduling, and the director's preferences always played a role. But the production team for the Hikaru no Go TV drama clearly wasn't interested in parachuting in random big-name actors. The entire casting process was decided directly by the director's judgment. And the middle-aged director never once looked down on Rei because of his age. If anything, he respected Rei's opinion far more than Rei expected. A live-action adaptation can never perfectly reproduce the expressiveness of manga panels, since animation allows for imaginative liberties that live-action simply cannot achieve. Still, within the constraints of real actors, Rei made sure that every chosen cast member, whether in looks or performance, was someone he could approve of. To Rei's relief, every candidate he supported ended up being well above the level of the live-action actors from the adaptation in his previous life. Far above. Of course, Rei also participated directly in the script discussions. A manga cannot be copied panel for panel into a TV drama. Scenes must be restructured, pacing must change, and side stories have to be added to make the live-action cast feel alive. But Rei had one non-negotiable demand. The main plot lines cannot be altered. Ever. The disastrous version from his past life committed the unforgivable sin of altering central character arcs. Rei would never allow that. Adding side romances for institute students? Fine. Changing the emotional core of the story? Absolutely not. Fortunately, having seen a full live-action version in his previous life, Rei could instantly recognize bad ideas before they were even spoken. He blocked many creative liberties long before they could slip into the script. The animation team required much less intervention. The animation quality standards in this Japan was already high, far beyond the outdated style of the original Japanese anime Rei remembered. The only thing Rei firmly insisted on was, character designs must not drift away from the manga's appearance. No modern reinterpretations, no redesigns that ignored personality, and absolutely no stylish realism. While all of this was unfolding, Hikaru no Go reached its 26th chapter. And during Rei's summer vacation, the third volume of the tankban was released. Volume 1 first week sales, 970,000. Volume 2 first week sales, 1.23 million. Volume 3 first week sales, 1.77 million. The industry was shaken. Even the most conservative estimates meant Hikaru no Go now had the potential to break 5 million copies per volume, a level only reached by top-tier manga artists. More importantly, this was achieved by a 17-year-old student. At first, when Rei debuted, people in the industry called him a genius. But privately, many scoffed. A 17-year-old maintaining consistency? Keeping pressure control? Impossible. He'll lose steam. He'll collapse. But when Volume 3's sales numbers dropped, professionals in the manga world all thought the same thing: among geniuses, there are levels. Maybe Hikaru no Go would collapse one day. No one could predict the future. But right now, Rei had clearly demonstrated the qualities of a true top-tier manga artist. Some critics claimed Rei was just benefiting from Hojimori Group's desire to promote a genius, the Go Association's nationwide push, the Go boom created by the manga itself. But anyone who believed it was that simple was welcome to try drawing a manga about an unpopular sport, like ice hockey, and see whether it could break even a fraction of Hikaru no Go's success. Rei was now only one step away from breaking out of the manga world entirely, from becoming a nationally recognized name. And that final push would come with the Hikaru no Go TV drama in October, and the anime in January next year. Just one step. Chapter 83, August. After summer vacation began, the heat in the city felt unbearable. But just as stifling as the temperature was the explosion in manga and anime market. Once elementary, middle school, high school, and university students were finally free, anime expos and manga fairs popped up across major cities. Tankman sales soared, anime merch sold out everywhere, and weekend crowds filled every event hall. Rei wasn't the type to lock himself indoors like a machine. Whenever he finished his manuscript work early, he slipped out to wander through the lively streets, browse merch booths, or quietly observe fans at exhibitions. That was where he saw them, dozens of Hikaru no Go fans dressed in size-flowing robes, fluttering folding fans as they walked past. Some even dyed their hair black and yellow attempting Hikaru's look, but most failed spectacularly, looking more like delinquent fireball punks than the bright, messy-haired boy from the manga. The series had just reached its 27th chapter, covering Hikaru's earliest days after joining the Go Dojo. There he reunited with two people, Waya, the sharp, perceptive young player who had once unknowingly played Sai online. Izumi, for years the strongest among the dojo's Insei equivalents, but unable to pass the pro exam. And of course Oki, a brilliant but harsh and brutally honest player, whose tongue was as sharp as his reading skills. The moment Hikaru stepped into the dojo, he became a target for challenge after challenge. He ranked dead last in Group 2, the lower-tier bracket of aspiring pros. Chapters 20 through 25 focused on Hikaru's painful, stumbling climb upward, learning to overcome the fear of stones caused by relying too heavily on Sai's guidance, correcting his weaknesses, and sharpening his intuition. Eventually, he broke into Group 1. And that immediately placed him into the Young Lions tournament. An official event mixing brand new professional one-dan players with the most promising dojo trainees. For Hikaru, there was only one goal: break into the top 8 of Group 1 and earn the right to face Akira again. In the tournament's first round, Hikaru was paired against a newly promoted professional. After 2 years of Sai's teaching, endless matches, and non-stop dojo training, Hikaru lost by only 2 points. He failed to reach Akira in the next round, but ironically, that made Akira even more fixated on him. How could the boy he crushed just over a year ago now stand on equal footing with a pro? How could someone with less than a year of formal dojo training produce a move so sharp, so devastating, that it shifted the entire course of the match? The more Akira thought about it, the more unbelievable Hikaru became. During all this time, Hikaru no Go's popularity remained steady, hovering at 6th place every week. The top 5 works had massive advantages: anime adaptations, games, merchandise, and massive fanbases. Even when Hikaru no Go came close, it always fell short by a margin, sometimes by over 30,000 votes. One week it briefly hit 5th place, but only because the 5th-ranked manga had a weak chapter. As soon as that series picked up again, Hikaru no Go slipped back a rank. Then Wednesday, August 6th arrived. The Dream Comic Journal hit the shelves. Chapter 28 of Hikaru no Go was released with it. That same morning, Marino woke up unable to sleep. The first thing she saw when she opened her eyes were the character posters of Sai and Akira pinned proudly on her bedroom wall. Honestly, as someone who had seriously studied Go during her childhood, reading a manga like Hikaru no Go gave Marino a level of immersion she rarely experienced anymore. Especially the recent dojo and pro exam arcs. Back in junior high, Marino had been considered a local prodigy, the girl who crushed old uncles and self-proclaimed park masters with ease. Her parents, convinced she had real talent, once took her to a professional Go dojo in the provincial capital for an evaluation. She came back the very same afternoon. Because she had been forced to resign mid-game by someone 3 years younger than her, ranked at the very bottom of the dojo. That single crushing defeat ended her Go dream. From then on, she focused on academics, studied hard, got into a top university, and now lived a perfectly stable life. But, people don't forget the things they couldn't get. Regret sits quietly, showing up at unexpected moments. Otherwise, why would she, a woman who loved sleeping in, wake up every Wednesday at 7, just to read the new Hikaru no Go chapter the moment it dropped? Her emotional projection onto Hikaru was intense. More than once, she had fantasized, what if she had met someone like Sai back then? What if a ghost-level super genius stood behind her board, guiding each move? Maybe she too could have walked the path of a professional. In truth, people read manga to borrow another life. She got out of bed, washed up, applied her usual elegant makeup, and headed toward the bookstore near her apartment. She arrived exactly as the doors opened, bought the new Dream comic journal, and immediately flipped to Hikaru no Go. The Young Lions tournament had ended last chapter. Naturally, the plot was now reaching the part every reader had been waiting for. The professional exam arc. By all standards, Hikaru had now become one of the top aspiring pros. He could even fight evenly with the weaker professional players, still losing, but forcing them to struggle, sweat, and feel genuine pressure. Right before the exams began, a new character appeared, Tatsuhiko Kadawaki. Years ago, he was one of the strongest amateur players in the entire country. Everyone believed he was talented enough to pass the pro exam. But due to family circumstances, he went abroad for several years. Now he had returned, stronger than ever, determined to finally take the exam. Before registering, Tatsuhiko walked near the dojo where Hikaru trained, wanting to warm up by challenging a few soft persimmons. But not a single trainee recognized him. His ego took a direct hit. Humph, fine. Just watch. You'll all see soon enough, Tatsuhiko muttered, thoroughly offended. Marino almost burst out laughing. The last 10 chapters had been intense, non-stop high-level matches, character growth, and long discussions by Go professionals online. So to suddenly have a character stroll in with this I will crush some newbies to feel better energy. And the soft persimmon he was likely to pick? In a world where Hikaru stood, and behind Hikaru stood Sai. Marino couldn't help but grin. Oh no. I wonder who he'll challenge first. Chapter 84, Ranking Tournament. Marino continued reading, and sure enough, Tatsuhiko Kadawaki waited by the entrance of the dojo for a while until someone who looked almost fragile wandered into view. Hey, kid, Tatsuhiko called out gently. You're an insai too, right? The pro exam's coming up. Are you taking it? Hikaru blinked, confused. Who are you, uncle? The word uncle pierced Tatsuhiko like a dagger. He was barely 20. Do you want to play a game? Tatsuhiko asked, trying to recover his dignity. Now. It's still early. Just help me warm up a bit. Hikaru thought for a moment, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Okay. Let's play. But the next second, he was already calling out in his heart. Sai. You take this one. He doesn't know me, so go wild. Marino couldn't help grinning. This was what she'd been waiting for. The dojo training arc had been so intense, watching Sai return to the board felt like a breath of fresh air. The manga panel shifted. Sai lowered his gaze toward the board, eyes calm, serene, and deadly serious. This was the first opponent he'd faced in person, other than Hikaru, since that legendary online match against Akira. Meanwhile, the chapter briefly cut to a side scene. Ogata was in the middle of the Meijin title match against the reigning champion, Kawabara. Their psychological battle, light teasing, subtle pressure, feints hidden beneath casual remarks, was portrayed beautifully. Then the manga cut back. Tatsuhiko was utterly shattered. He stared at the destroyed board, stunned, then forced out 2 broken syllables. I resign. His hands trembled. You're really an insai. Hikaru immediately sensed danger and tried to slip away. But Tatsuhiko snapped back to life. Wait. How long have you been playing Go? Marino's fingers froze mid-page. The panel zoomed in on Tatsuhiko's eyes, confusion, disbelief, and a quiet desperation. He wasn't just asking Hikaru. He wasn't just asking Sai. It felt as though he was asking the reader too. How can someone this young, be this strong? Then came the panel Marino knew she would never forget. Hikaru turned back slightly, a mischievous smile tugging at his lips. He lifted a single finger. 1,000 years. A joke. A truth. An answer only Hikaru, and Sai, could give. Tatsuhiko was left frozen in place. Outside the pages, Marino felt her heart twist. It was cool, and funny. After Hikaru left, Tatsuhiko quietly tore up his pro-exam application. He called a friend. "I'm not ready. I need another year. I'll try again when I deserve it." On the other side of the story, the Meijin match ended. Ogata lost, and Kawabara retained the title. And so the chapter reached its quiet conclusion. At the dojo entrance, Oki, Izumi, and Hikaru stood beneath the slanting sunlight. Their training period was over. Their next reunion would be on the battlefield of the professional examination. "See you next time, we're rivals. Good luck." The final page showed their silhouettes parting ways, framed by soft summer light, a page overflowing with youth, rivalry, and everything Marino wished she'd experienced herself. Marino finally understood why Shirogane-sensei chose to place the side stories of Tatsuhiko and the Meijin title match in the same chapter. Even someone like Tatsuhiko, once a top insai whose name had echoed through the Tokyo Go scene, lost all confidence after a single match with Sai, deciding he wasn't worthy yet and postponing his pro exam to next year. Even Ogata 9 Dan, brilliant but prideful, had his mental state shaken by a few offhand remarks from the cunning Meijin Kawabara, and ultimately failed to take the title. Even Hikaru, Oki, and Izumi, boys who laughed together, ate together, played Go together every day inside the dojo, would now turn and face one another as rivals in the brutal arena of the professional qualification tournament. Hundreds, no, thousands, of the strongest young Go players from every prefecture, city, and dojo across Japan. All fighting for the mere 30 slots to become official professionals. And unlike the college entrance exam, which a person could take 10 or 20 times, in Go, if you fail to turn pro by 18, your window closes forever. This was the cruelty of the professional Go world. You didn't gain strength with age. Your peak often came early. Miss it, and the moment was gone. In REI's previous world, legends like Ji achieved pro rank at 11, won a world title at 18, and became Meijin in their 20s. Yet ask any fan when he was strongest, and they'd say, when he was younger, before he tangled with AI and changed forever. Marino knew all this from her childhood Go days. And so, this chapter made her eyes sting. These 3 boys in the manga. How many of them would truly make it? Especially Izumi, given his age in the story, how many chances did he even have left? Would their years of work finally bloom? Or, would it all end in silence? It was only a manga, and yet it made Marino think of so much. In the story, a month passed in an instant. On the morning of the preliminaries, Hikaru arrived at the exam hall. Above the entrance hung a huge banner. National Professional Go Qualification Tournament Preliminaries. Just a single line of text, yet it filled Marino's heart with a strange, overwhelming longing. She flipped the page. Chapter 28 End. After half a year of following this series, she finally saw Hikaru take his first step into the world of professional Go. Go newbie _43, is this what the pro world looks like? The pressure is insane. Stone Collector, I never realized Go could be this hard. Lost in Fu, even if I studied Go for 10 years, I still wouldn't reach Insai level. Pros are absolute monsters. Hunter, Meijin, Juden, Tenjin, the names alone sound legendary. Who actually holds those titles in Japan right now? TigerDad _88, I'm signing my son up for Go lessons immediately. 10 years from now, meet the next Meijin. Emotional otaku, this chapter sticks to the main storyline, so why am I crying? Bored sensei, I get it. It's like watching your own kid grow up. Hikaru has spent over 2 years chasing Akira, and now he's finally qualified to stand in the same ring as him. Eyes on, hey, doesn't Tatsuhiko being crushed by Sai feel like foreshadowing? Rin reads, what do you mean? Metareader _01, think about it. If Hikaru ends up becoming the last admitted pro this year, won't it only be because Tatsuhiko quit? If Tatsuhiko had taken the exam, the outcome might have changed. Shirogane-sensei doesn't waste characters. That match could have reshuffled the entire ranking board. Cloudy Komi, hey? There's actually a theory like that. Fuseki Otaku, well, let's just see how Shirogane-sensei writes it. Vote Samurai, support. Next week the pro qualification arc finally begins. Everyone remember to vote for Hikaru no Go, let's power up Hikaru Shindo. Sai is my god, of course. voting the moment it opens. Weeping Kaya, please, Shirogane-sensei, don't break my heart. Let Hikaru pass the protest. I'm begging you. All day long, the Hikaru no Go fandom was in full celebration mode, hyped, anxious, emotional, as the story finally stepped into the world of professional Go. Across Japanese search engines, the phrase Japanese professional Go qualification rules exploded in popularity. On the official website of Dream Comics, the comment flood from manga fans was relentless. Ghost in the Goban, when Hikaru becomes a pro, make 2 certificates, one for Hikaru, one for Sai. Don't you dare forget Sai. The next morning, the ranking results were released. For the first time, Hikaru no Go rose from number 6 to number 5. Without the anime and drama even airing yet, it had pushed its way to the 5th rank purely through the support of Hikaru no Go fans. Among all top 8 titles in the magazine, it was now the only one without an adaptation, a freakish achievement by industry standards. Even the harshest critics who previously nitpicked everything fell completely silent. And then, across the Dream Comic forum, one question began spreading. Stone Demon, if it can reach number 5 before the anime and drama air, what happens after they air? Tenjin Tiger, number 4 is definitely possible. Divine Move Seeker, could it even break into the top 3? Those rankings haven't changed in 2 years. Chapter 85, Preliminaries and Release Date. As August arrived, the last stretch of REI's second-year summer vacation quietly slipped away. Even though it was technically still vacation, a faint, indescribable pressure had already begun seeping into the classroom. This Japan's high schools didn't allow cram schools like in REI's previous life, but students feeling the weight of the coming year had already started self-study marathons. The countdown to the university entrance exams had silently begun. But for REI and Mayu, that pressure felt distant. Both had excellent grades, and Mayu especially, barring any accidents, was basically guaranteed a spot in one of top 10 universities. But the truth was, neither of them cared particularly about college entrance rankings. Both had already chosen a completely different future. They were going to be professional manga artists. And for Mayu, this summer vacation finally brought her long-awaited breakthrough. Her Sakura Rain topped Amatsukage Journal's popularity rankings for the very first time. Amatsukage Journal's official website even put up a celebratory announcement that morning, bold fonts, special graphics, and a direct push notification to readers. Hojimori Group had tasted success with the genius Shirogane. REI had become a well-known national high school student manga prodigy, and Hikaru no Go was climbing wildly in influence, not just in the industry, but even in academic and cultural circles thanks to official Go Association support. Naturally, after that result, Hojimori Group doubled down on raising another prodigy under their wing, Saki. A company with one genius wants two. Why stop at one when both show promise? They poured resources on her with a momentum even more intense than when REI first topped Amatsukage. Meanwhile, Hikaru no Go had settled into a stable position. Its ranking had climbed, paused, then climbed again, and now it sat firmly at number 5. And as of chapter 29, the story had finally entered the stage fans had been waiting for. The Pro Qualification Tournament qualifiers. The system was brutal. Candidates drew random lots. 5 games in 5 days. Win 3 to advance, lose 3 and go home. And then came the chaos. In Hikaru's first match, he ran into a terrifying examinee, a tall, heavy-bearded guy who was only 17 but looked like someone who had walked out of a noir film. He arrived exactly on time every day, made strange throat noises, tried to psych Hikaru out during the sealed move ritual, and muttered bizarre superstitions about noodles and losing streaks. Hikaru, who had the social experience of a baby deer, was absolutely destroyed. He lost the first match. Shaken, he lost the second one too. In the third game, with his back against the wall, Hikaru faced a familiar opponent from the dojo, someone he usually defeated. That single victory was enough to steady his breathing and pull him back from the brink. He won the third. He won the fourth. And in the fifth round? A bye. With 3 wins, Hikaru officially entered the main tournament. And the fandom exploded. Komi_is_ crying, bro, the qualifiers nearly killed me. My heart stopped 3 times. Goban Warrior, that bearded dude is horrifying. How is he only 17? He looks like a villain in a gambling manga. Sai-sama saved me, honestly thought Shirogane-sensei was gonna make Hikaru fail this year and retry next year. I was trembling. Serious Tsuchi, Hikaru's skill is fine, but his mentality is trash. This boy collapses if someone sneezes behind him. Akira Defense Force. Meanwhile Akira got bullied by Kyo Middle School's Go Club, begged the teacher to let him play, and still crushed everyone. Mindset difference is unreal. Late arrival hell, Hikaru literally arrived just on time every day because he was scared of running into the beard man. Then the moment he saw the guy, he'd short-circuit and misread everything. I was laughing and crying. Punish that beard, he made it to the main bracket too. Shirogane-sensei, please set up a revenge match later. Hikaru needs to avenge our collective trauma. And then the conversation shifted abruptly. Tenjin rumors, anyway, it's already late August, isn't the Hikaru no Go drama supposed to air in October? Do we have a broadcast station or time slot yet? Casting Insider, announcements should be coming in the next week or two. But I did hear something crazy. Blackstone dealer, oh? Spill. Casting Insider, word is, aside from being a consultant, Shirogane-sensei actually worked on the music for the TV drama. Forum Goban? What does that mean? Casting Insider, well, I have a friend whose relative is a gaffer on the Hikaru no Go production team. He told my friend that one day, the senior management of the production team decided to replace all the pre-scheduled opening and ending themes for Hikaru no Go with original songs by an unknown musician. And that unknown musician is named Rei. Maple Leaf, Rei? What's wrong with Rei? Blackstone_19, you idiot, Shirogane's real name is Rei. As a Hikaru no Go fan, you don't even know this. Idol Cloud, it should be a namesake, right? There are so many people in Japan, how many people named Rei are there, pft. Something's not right. How many people named Rei can you find in all of Japan? They all ended up in the Hikaru no Go production team. Old keyboard, haha, don't believe these inexplicable messages online. Teacher Shirogane is a student and has to draw so many manga manuscript pages, and also serve as a consultant for the Hikaru no Go production team. If he also understood music and could compose songs, I'd eat this keyboard I'm typing on right now. Casting Insider, what do you mean? Do you think I'm bragging? I'll save this post, and I'll come back to remind you to eat your keyboard then. Cloud T, Shirogane, you've worked hard. You're so busy, yet I've taken up half a day of your time. Inside a recording studio, Seiya, the director of the Hikaru no Go TV series, said with a grateful expression to Rei beside him. The Hikaru no Go TV series started actor auditions in July, began filming in mid-July, and now at the end of August. Honestly, the progress has exceeded expectations. After all, while Hikaru no Go's plot is exciting, the actual filming difficulty is not high. As long as the actors for the protagonist Hikaru, the second male lead Akira, and the only true god of the entire series, Sai, are chosen well, and they also have some acting skills, it's enough. More than 60% of the plot of this drama is either playing Go or on the way to play Go, so sometimes the location doesn't even need to be changed. Naturally, the progress is extremely fast. It's just that at this point, the music and other post-production materials for the Hikaru no Go TV series must be ready. The original songs planned by the director naturally paled in comparison after Rei brought out songs like Sai's Adventure and Get Over. The production team quickly hired professional musicians to write lyrics and arrange music based on the plot and rhythm. Today, the songs were completed in the recording studio, and then director Seiya invited Rei to listen together and offer suggestions. I never expected, teacher Shirogane, that besides being such a good manga artist, you also have such accomplishments in music. Compared to you, the so-called geniuses I've seen before truly pale in comparison. Director, you're too kind. Rei smiled faintly, not paying too much attention to the flattery. Actually, Rei's definition of himself as a consultant for the Hikaru no Go production team was to ensure the baseline quality of the finished TV series, overseeing the music, actors, and script. However, the upper limit of this series still depended on director Seiya. Oh, by the way, the Hikaru no Go TV series will premiere on Capital Television Station on October 3, Friday night at 9 p.m. I only received this information this morning, so I'm letting you know. Capital Television Station, Friday night. Rei was stunned by the news. Even if he didn't pay much attention to the TV industry, he understood that Friday night, 9 o'clock, this time slot was definitely a golden one. Moreover, Capital Television station had considerable influence. From a ratings perspective alone, it ranked among the top 4 TV stations. The investment in Hikaru no Go wasn't even that large, it was only a medium-scale production. He hadn't expected it to receive such a good broadcast platform and schedule. The broadcast schedule is that good? Yes. Seiya nodded and smiled. After all, the Hikaru no Go TV series Invisible Investors are actually quite powerful. Invisible Investors. Rei immediately understood. On the surface, the investors of the Hikaru no Go TV series were a listed film and television company in Japan. But behind it, there was also the support of the Go Association. These semi-official associations usually seemed useless, but when it came to matters like this, the power they could unleash was indeed considerable. Towards the end of September, before the Hikaru no Go TV series premieres, we might need you to spare some time to participate in a media interview and a press conference. Seiya finally stated his main purpose. Rei agreed to everything. That evening, after returning home, fatigue showed clearly on Rei's face. If possible, he truly just wanted to draw manga. These non-manga related tasks were mentally exhausting. But to maximize the influence of these manga works, as the original author, I can't be absent, Rei sighed softly. Otherwise, how would manga fans enter the TV series at the first opportunity? October 3 RD. Just over a month left. Rei opened his phone and looked at the latest rankings of Dream Comic that Misaki had sent him a few days earlier. Source War Chronicle, 823,561 votes. The Wanderer, 707,415 votes. Fist Armor, 611,235 votes. The top 3 rankings had remained unchanged for 2 years. Especially Source War Chronicle, over 800,000 votes, meaning roughly 1 in every 20 readers voted for it. An astonishing ratio. The 4th-ranked work, Love Prism, only had just over 400,000 votes. As for Hikaru no Go, even though it ranked 5th, its total votes hovered around 380,000. The top 3 works had formed a dimensionality reduction strike through years of serialization, anime, and game adaptations. For Hikaru no Go to challenge them, it would either need time, or explosive momentum from the TV series and animation. 1 month. Rei clenched his fists. Chapter 86, September, Countdown to Premiere. In late August, school started, marking the beginning of Rei's senior year of high school. But the moment he stepped onto campus, even before his classmates could surround him, his 2 closest friends, Hana and Yui, who normally went out of their way not to bother him, couldn't help themselves this time. There had simply been too much news about Hikaru no Go over the summer. Rumors were everywhere that Sato Haruki and Kanzaki, 2 of the most popular young actors in Japan, had been cast as Hikaru and Akira. And Takagi Masato, who hadn't acted for several years and was once famous nationwide for his elegant period drama roles, would be playing Sai. Though past his peak, Masato had once been a top-tier star, and his public appeal was still immense. As for important supporting roles, C.G. Ogata, Kawabara, Toya Koyo, the budget couldn't stretch to household name superstars, but the production team had still brought in veteran actors familiar to the audience. The cast wasn't luxurious, but it was solid. And more importantly, the original work belonged to a classmate sitting right beside them. On top of that, Rei had spent the entire summer on set as a consultant. Which meant, at least in theory, he had personally met all these actors. Among the students, many weren't interested in manga. But almost no one was indifferent to celebrities. So the moment classes resumed, Rei was immediately surrounded. Questions flew at him non-stop. All right, Rei said quickly, raising his hands. I'll try to help you get autographs, but only if it doesn't interfere with filming or their personal lives. And don't even bring up visiting the set again. I'm just a consultant. The set isn't my house. Oh, so that's how it is. Can't you make an exception? No matter how they pleaded, Rei remained unmoved. Even Hana and Yui looked a little crestfallen. Rei waited until most of the crowd had dispersed before lowering his voice. You too. If you're really interested, contact me over the weekend. You might be able to come along as temporary assistants or something, but I can't guarantee anything. And absolutely don't tell anyone else. They were friends he'd known since his first year. His hardline attitude had never been meant for people like them. Got it, got it. Rei, you're the coolest, Yui said instantly, recovering her grin. Hana simply smiled and nodded. Off to the side, Mayu spoke calmly. What's so great about celebrities anyway? They don't understand that if you reach the top of Dream Comic, your influence will rival theirs. Instead of chasing them, they should be paying attention to you. Rei smiled, but didn't continue the topic. In September, Hikaru no Go's story continued to focus on the professional promotion tournament. After passing the preliminaries, Hikaru became painfully aware of his biggest weakness, not skill, but mentality. So in the month before the main tournament, he, Oki, and Izumi began special training aimed solely at mental resilience. Easily distracted by external factors. Then go straight into adult Go clubs. Crowded rooms. Noisy chatter. Surrounded by old men. Grumpy ones. Gentle ones. Loud ones. Intimidating ones. 2 consecutive weeks of chapters revolved around this training, easing the tension for readers while quietly strengthening Hikaru's foundation. Rei deliberately retained these side plots, but kept them restrained. In the original manga, the gap between the preliminaries and the main tournament stretched for more than 10 chapters. When Rei first read it in his previous life, he'd nearly forgotten the main tournament even existed. That kind of pacing wouldn't work here. But one crucial event did happen during Hikaru's mindset training. He met Ko Young-ha, a prodigious Go genius from the Korea region, at one of the clubs. In this world, competitive Go followed a familiar pattern: Japan and Korea dominated, while China had long fallen behind. There was no AlphaGo incident here. No legendary hand of God. But Japan's Go fans still harbored deep resentment toward Korea players. And Ko Young-ha didn't help matters, constantly boasting that Korea Go was superior to Japan's. So when Hikaru, provoked beyond endurance, placed his first move directly on Tenjin and crushed him, making the so-called genius cry. The scene electrified Japanese's readers. It is rumored that when this plotline of Hikaru no Go was serialized in its previous life, many people in the Korea felt that Ko Young-ha's loss and tears were an insult to their country, and they furiously reported the Hikaru no Go manga. The manga's serialization was even affected by this plotline to some extent. But Rei didn't care about these things. Frankly speaking, after this plotline of Hikaru no Go was serialized, the happiest ones were some of the Japanese professional Go players, as there were indeed too many black whistle incidents experienced while playing Go in Korea. However, although manga readers enjoyed this plotline, Hikaru no Go's ranking still remained at 5th place. While the gap with the 4th-ranked work narrowed, it still hadn't overtaken it. Time, just like that, arrived in mid to late September. For Rei, he went to school during the day and drew manga at night, being incredibly busy every day, so he naturally felt that time passed quickly. From Hikaru no Go's serialization in February to September now, half a year had passed, but to him, it felt like only a few weeks ago. But for the multitude of Hikaru no Go fans, these days of weekly following Hikaru no Go and being kept in suspense by Hikaru no Go truly felt like years. Everyone had heard the news that the Hikaru no Go TV series was about to start filming and broadcasting 3 or 4 months ago. But until now, when they first saw the preview for the Hikaru no Go TV series broadcast information on Capital Television Station on September 21, these Hikaru no Go manga fans were moved to tears. The manga was just black and white line art, with no sound, no movement, and no color. But in the Hikaru no Go TV series preview, when Sai, in white robes, with an elegant demeanor and handsome appearance, appeared by the Go board, and when a young Hikaru appeared on screen. The first game, the second game, the third game, between Sai, Hikaru, and Akira. The flickering of those live-action scenes, combined with the soothing pure music version of the BGM Kyoseki no Boken that Rei submitted to the production team, brought forth a sense of romance in their hearts. On that day, on the Dream Comic official website, the popularity of Hikaru no Go surpassed all other works in the magazine for the first time, and its discussion rate among the magazine's fan base jumped to first place. Tears in my eyes. Although it didn't quite reach the image of Sai and the protagonists I imagined, it's already over 70–80% there. Hey, what's the name of that insert song? Does anyone know? It moved me so much. It's said to be the theme song of Hikaru no Go, but it's a slower, soothing version. The theme song version is much more cheerful due to its faster tempo. Haven't the major music websites updated it? Do you even need to ask about something like this? You can definitely only download and listen to it after the TV series airs. I was worried it would be another manga that suffered a disastrous live-action adaptation, but this trailer, at least I'm satisfied with it. The casting for young Hikaru is good, but the casting for young Akira is truly divine. Although his appearance isn't as handsome, his eyes are almost identical to the manga, and his temperament is so similar. Finally, this day has come. 34 weeks. I've been following the Hikaru no Go manga for 34 whole weeks, and I finally have the chance to watch the live-action Hikaru no Go TV series premiere. October 3rd, 9 p.m., right? That night, even if my girlfriend calls me, I'll turn off my phone and stay home to watch TV. I hope Hikaru no Go gets good ratings. I heard that the first season of this TV series only covers up to Hikaru leaving the school Go club and preparing to join the dojo. If the ratings and popularity aren't enough, there might not be a second season. Everyone remember to support it then. How long is this manga going to be, anyway? Is this plotline with Ko Young-ha preparing for Hikaru to represent Japan in the championship against Korea after becoming a professional Go player? Doesn't that mean this manga can be serialized for at least 100 more chapters? I don't know, but this manga definitely has many more plot lines that can be developed. Go, after all, isn't over just by winning one world championship. There are 7 types of championship tournaments, and great players have 8, 9, or even 10 titles. Since this is a TV series filmed with Shirogane Sensei as a consultant, even if the first episode doesn't meet expectations after it airs, I hope everyone doesn't just rant on the internet and discourage passers-by from getting into the TV series. It's normal for a TV series to seem less interesting than the manga because we have preconceived notions, but for newcomers to the TV series, they don't have this filter, and they might be very satisfied. Exactly, if other manga live-action adaptations flop, so be it. But for Hikaru no Go, I hope its TV series becomes a huge hit, a massive hit, to show those who only like family dramas and idol romance dramas why we manga fans love manga. What a truly interesting story is like. Go, Shirogane Sensei, go, Hikaru no Go. And Hikaru in the manga, you go too. After defeating Ko Young-ha, the professional Go promotion tournament is about to begin. Go for it, Hikaru, don't get eliminated. I'm waiting to see you challenge Akira after becoming a professional player and show that tsundere person your strength. The information released in the TV series preview was like a spark hitting a barrel of gasoline in the Hikaru no Go manga fan community, igniting instantly. But at the same time, a large number of casual TV series enthusiasts became curious. The information that the Hikaru no Go TV series is adapted from the serialized manga Hikaru no Go created by Shirogane Sensei under Hojimori Group spread among a large number of TV series viewers. Many people don't pay attention to Go, but they do pay attention to the various celebrity actors starring in Hikaru no Go. After today, a large number of TV series fans also began to search for information related to Hikaru no Go. Shirogane. Hikaru no Go. Go. Chapter 87, Influence. Rei spent the vast majority of his day drawing manga. Although he was already drawing very quickly, his drawing speed was actually slowly improving compared to before, especially since he didn't need to conceptualize plotlines and had the original work from his past life as a reference for manga paneling. After all, practice makes perfect. It was precisely for this reason that Rei had time to take leave and cooperate with the Hikaru no Go production team to participate in various promotional activities and reporter interviews. In reality, a manga artist rarely gets much exposure most of the time. It's usually only during signing events for tankobon releases or promotional activities in cooperation with manga groups. However, with Rei's promotional activities alongside the Hikaru no Go production team before the drama aired, the publicity for manga artist Shirogane among the general public was far more effective than before. After all, the production team included various famous celebrities. Although Rei's appearance wasn't as outstanding as the lead actors when standing among them, he wasn't overshadowed too much. Furthermore, in road shows and promotional interviews, the first person introduced for the work Hikaru no Go was director Seiya, and the second was immediately Rei, the original author. Those who followed the actors in the Hikaru no Go drama naturally couldn't avoid also starting to pay attention to Rei. 17 years old? Second year of high school, a manga artist? A work adapted into a TV series? Is he that amazing? I don't usually read manga, but I've seen a lot of manga-adapted idol dramas. Why would a Go manga have such high popularity and commercial value to be adapted into a TV series? A Go TV series, sounds a bit interesting. I don't understand Go, will I be able to understand this TV series? Absolutely no problem. I don't understand Go either, but I've followed the recent professional Go player examination storyline. To put it bluntly, if you don't understand Go, just watch the plot, even then, it's incredibly good. Shirogane, looking at the interview and promotional videos, he seems quite handsome. Why be a manga artist? I think debuting as an actor wouldn't be impossible. If Shirogane-sensei becomes an actor, who will update the Hikaru no Go manga for me? Anyway, just for Takagi Masato, Kanzaki Ren, and Haruto, I will definitely watch this manga-adapted drama. Go, a theme never seen in any TV drama circle, but the manga has such a good reputation, the plot should be good, and I'm really tired of those idle youth dramas. October 3rd, right. I've noted it. Ever since Capital Television Station began broadcasting the Hikaru no Go premiere trailer during prime time in the daytime, the popularity of Hikaru no Go, Shirogane, and the actors involved in the TV series continued to rise. The name Hikaru no Go was no longer confined to the manga circle but began to spread throughout the entire nation. This is why popular manga works desperately want to be adapted into live action or animation. The most famous example is the super popular manga Demon Slayer from Rei's previous life. Without animation, the total sales of the Demon Slayer original manga tankobon were only 3.5 million copies. But a year after animation, this sales figure skyrocketed to 120 million copies. However, not all manga are like this. Many manga, even after animation or live-action adaptation, do not see a significant increase in original sales and popularity. Currently, because Hojimori Group is heavily promoting Shirogane, many peers in the manga industry are watching Hojimori Group, watching Shirogane, watching Hikaru no Go. Competitors or rivals? Hojimori Group will certainly help promote Hikaru no Go to a certain extent after the TV series airs, but these competitors will definitely do the opposite. If Hikaru no Go performs even slightly poorly in the TV drama market, then under their operation, overwhelming criticism and curses will flood the internet. In the October-autumn season for TV dramas, Japan's 7 major mainstream TV stations and more than a dozen medium-sized TV stations collectively launched a pile of mid to large investment dramas. To put it bluntly, every industry is the same. The manga industry looks at ranking, the TV drama industry looks at viewership ratings, and the film industry looks at box office data. The investment in the Hikaru no Go TV series was not too large, ranking 11th among the dramas premiering in the autumn season. However, Hikaru no Go's slot was very good, there were no major investment dramas premiering at the same time to compete for viewership, and it also had the added popularity of its original manga fans. The market's expectation for the Hikaru no Go TV series was clear. If it ranked in the top 10 for the quarter, that would be considered acceptable. Breaking into the top 5 would count as a genuine success. And if it failed? Then the title of genius manga artist Shirogane, which Hojimori Group had spent half a year building, would be torn apart mercilessly by every media outlet looking for blood. By the end of September, just 5 days before the premiere, some outlets had already begun declaring the Hikaru no Go TV series a failure that hadn't even aired yet. Predictably, this ignited a full-blown war online between drama critics and fans of the cast. The atmosphere felt painfully familiar to Rei. It was exactly the same tone the market had taken before the Hikaru no Go manga began serialization. A Go manga won't last more than 3 months. It'll be cancelled sooner or later. And now? Half a year later, Hikaru no Go sat firmly at 5th place in Dream Comic, with the third tankobon selling over 1.7 million copies in its first week. Yet the moment the TV series approached its broadcast date, the same voices resurfaced. Rei closed his computer and looked out at the neon-lit nightscape of the Tokyo beyond the window. Before writing your articles, he muttered, couldn't you at least go downstairs, buy the first volume, and spend 2 hours actually reading it? He didn't know about other works. But Hikaru no Go was absolutely a story suited for both live action and animation. That much had already been proven once. September ended. October arrived. October 1st fell on a Wednesday. Chapter 36 of Hikaru no Go was released alongside the latest issue of Dream Comic. After Hikaru's match against the Korean genius, the story finally returned to its core. The professional Go-Dan promotion tournament. In the manga, Hikaru and the others had spent a month tempering their mindset. In reality, that arc had also taken nearly a month of serialization. Now, the results were visible. With a stabilized mentality, and Go skills sharpened by Sai's relentless training, Hikaru entered a winning streak in the main tournament. Among the dojo's examinees, only Hikaru, Waya, Isumi, and one other contender remained undefeated. But no one felt secure. In a field of hundreds, one loss was enough to erase everything. The manga shed its earlier lightness completely. What replaced it was a suffocating tension that pressed down on readers page by page. Every participant here had once been unbeatable in their hometowns. Each was a prodigy who rarely tasted defeat, now gathered together, fighting over 30 professional slots. Even readers who didn't understand Go could feel the cruelty of it. And those who did understand Go felt it even more sharply. Because they knew that the players Hikaru defeated so easily might already be stronger than the teachers who had taught them the game in real life. At this point, no one was surprised when Akira returned to center stage. Whenever the story risked becoming flat, Akira was the antidote. Knowing that Hikaru had reached this level in just 1 year, Akira, now a 2-dan professional, could no longer sit still. He accepted Oki as his student. Not out of kindness, but because he intended to use Oki to measure Hikaru's current strength. The narrative focus quietly narrowed. Oki, Hikaru, Isumi. The warmth of friendship faded. What remained was a brutal competition for survival. A month earlier, Isumi had sincerely helped Hikaru train. Now, watching Hikaru's growth, that sincerity twisted into fear. If Hikaru succeeded, then Isumi's chances shrank. He had been the strongest player in the dojo for years, and had still failed, again and again, to cross the line. The conflict was no longer external. It was internal. And for the first time, readers sensed it clearly. Shirogane was preparing to pit Isumi and Hikaru against each other. When the chapter ended, Hikaru no Go fans fell silent. Chapter 88, Broadcast. The cheerful plot of the trio previously searching for opponents in Go clubs was completely swept away. There are only 30 professional Go player spots in total. There can't be a dream-shattering plot, right? Exactly. Isumi and Hikaru are 2 of the strongest players in the dojo. And besides that unsociable guy Oki, there's no reason either of them should fail, right? But the manga isn't only about their dojo. There are other dojos, and even self-taught amateur masters. In a professional qualification tournament like this, anything can happen. In these 2 chapters, Shirogane-sensei has been intensely depicting Isumi's psychology after seeing Hikaru's growth. He's happy for Hikaru, but also a little regretful about helping him overcome his psychological barrier, basically nurturing a terrifying opponent for himself. If you tell me this isn't foreshadowing, I won't believe you. There are only 2 days left until the Hikaru no Go TV series airs, and this week's plot stops here? This is torture. Shirogane-sensei is still the king of cliffhangers. Alright, that's it for this week's serialization. When will the professional qualification tournament end? It feels like it's been going on forever. 1 month in the manga, 2 months in real life. Absolute agony. Don't even mention it. 1 game in the manga means another whole week of waiting. That's all for today. 2 days from now, everyone gather at Capital Television Station at 9 p.m. and see what the live-action Hikaru no Go is like. Let me say this first, no matter how bad the other actors are, I'll give Shirogane-sensei face and keep quiet. But if Sai's acting is bad, I'm going berserk on the spot. Same. Other characters I can tolerate, but Sai is non-negotiable. The day after tomorrow at 9 p.m., remember to support the ratings. Don't let fans of other TV series mock us Hikaru no Go fans. Support. No matter what, we need a top 3 rating this quarter. Late at night, Rei was still scrolling through the comments under his account. Most of them were messages of support, encouragement, and complaints about his merciless cliffhangers. These people were the manga's earliest readers, the core fanbase that had followed Hikaru no Go from the very beginning, week after week, voting almost without fail. Rei exhaled slowly. After this week's serialization ended, his attention could no longer stay on the manga alone. Whether he liked it or not, his thoughts kept drifting toward the TV series. His confidence in Hikaru no Go had never wavered. But confidence didn't mean immunity to anxiety. Once the drama aired, praise and criticism alike would come crashing down all at once. That night, Rei barely slept. The next morning, as soon as he arrived at school, people began greeting him from all directions. Some were classmates. Some were acquaintances. Some were complete strangers. All of them wore similar expressions, excitement mixed with curiosity, as they congratulated him on the Hikaru no Go TV series' soaring attention and early buzz. Rei responded politely, but mechanically. As for Mayu, his closest friend, she didn't bother with empty congratulations. At noon, the two stood on the rooftop. Rei leaned against the railing, phone in hand, waiting for Misaki's call about her results. Mayu glanced at him and smiled. "Come to my house tomorrow night." Rei blinked. "To your house? Why? Isn't my deadline on Tuesday?" She said lightly. "My sister asked me to tell you. The Hikaru no Go TV series airs tomorrow." She paused, then added. She set up a huge projector and screen at home. It's the first time a project she's responsible for is going on TV. She wants to watch it together with you. The original author. Rei thought about it for a moment, then nodded. Editor Misaki is more ceremonial than I expected, he said. All right. I understand. Mayu's lips curved upward. Then it's settled. October 2nd. Thursday night. Before going to bed, Rei posted the same short message across all his creator accounts. The content was simple, cooperating with the production team for the final broadcast announcement of Hikaru no Go. Almost at the same time, the official Hikaru no Go production account posted it. The main cast reposted it. Hojimori Group's official site followed suit. Rika's personal account shared it as well. Even the official account of the Japan's Go Association joined in. And Saki, a fellow manga artist, once publicly acknowledged by Shirogane, yet still shrouded in mystery, she, too, urged her followers to tune into Capital Television Station at 9 p.m. the next night. Within hours, the news spread through the country entertainment industry like wildfire. Active fans saw it immediately. Casual viewers learned of it passively. Either way, the message reached them. Midnight passed quietly. October 3rd, Friday arrived. At school, Rei couldn't focus on a single lecture. Time crawled. When the final bell finally rang in the afternoon, he felt as if he had survived an ordeal. Without wasting a moment, he and Mayu got into a taxi and headed straight for her home. Misaki had already ordered a large table of sumptuous dishes for dinner. But in reality, the three of them ate absent-mindedly. From time to time, all three glanced down at the clocks on their phones. 7 o'clock p.m. 7:42 p.m. 8:36 p.m. As time quietly passed, the ratings of Capital Television Station continued to rise. Hikaru no Go fans from every province across Japan were switching on their televisions and tuning in. Viewers drawn in by the online promotional trailers. Regular audiences loyal to Capital Television Station. These different groups gradually converged, and finally, at 8:52 p.m., confirmed by the station's back-end staff, the real-time ratings surpassed 3.5%, ranking second among all TV stations in the same time slot. Rei, Mayu, and Misaki knew none of this. The three of them sat quietly in the living room, saying nothing, subconsciously counting down the seconds on their fingers. Then, the clock struck 9 p.m. exactly. The screen of Capital Television Station suddenly froze. In the next instant, a bright and passionate youthful chorus rang out. Rei recognized it immediately. This was the Japan's rearranged version of the original Hikaru no Go opening theme. The moment the singer opened his mouth, the passionate, spirited feeling of the original song burst forth without restraint. Misaki and Mayu both turned to look at Rei. Others might not have known. But how could the two of them not? The opening theme of Hikaru no Go had been composed by Rei himself, with lyrics and arrangement handled by the renowned musician Ji. Lyrics could be changed. Arrangement could be rewritten. But melody never lied. After only a few seconds, both of them could already tell, this song was high quality. Mayu and Misaki stared straight at Rei. No way, Mayu said instinctively. You actually understand music too? This was really composed by you. It's genuine, Rei coughed lightly, then added. Keep watching. In the first episode, besides the opening and ending themes, there are also 2 insert songs I submitted. I'll let you know when they come on. He shifted his gaze back to the screen. For now, let's watch the show. Chapter 89, Broadcast Performance. Inside Misaki's villa, both Misaki and Mayu quickly had their attention captured by the screen. Although the work belonged to Rei, Misaki was his editor, and Rei had been introduced to her sister through Mayu. Coupled with her exceptionally close relationship with Rei, the two of them were no less immersed in the premiere of Hikaru no Go than the creator himself. The moment the opening theme began to play, both of them felt goosebumps rise along their arms. As for Rei, despite being a consultant on the Hikaru no Go TV series, there was actually only one thing he truly cared about: fidelity to the original work. The actors didn't need to look exactly like their manga counterparts, but their temperament, their spirit, had to match. The plot didn't need to be a one-to-one copy of the manga either. Many actors chose to participate in this drama precisely because it could boost their visibility and reputation. Even if they were only playing third, fourth, or fifth-tier roles, supporting characters still needed moments to shine. Otherwise, who would be willing to take on a supporting role? Balancing the spotlight among characters inevitably required adjustments to screen time, and even some changes to the original plot. But adaptation was not the same as reckless rewriting. Adding scenes for side characters was acceptable, but it could not go so far as to contradict their established personalities, let alone completely destroy them. The first episode unfolded much like the manga. A rainy day. The TV version of Hikaru, together with Akari, climbed to the second floor of his grandfather's storeroom, where they discovered the blood-stained Go board. They met Sai. And to fulfill the lingering wish of this millennium-old Go spirit, they went to a Go club. It was worth mentioning that Rei's collaborator, Rika, made a friendly guest appearance as the elegant front desk attendant at the Go club. Her appearance instantly caught the attention of many viewers across. She might not have been more beautiful than professional actresses, but more than 20 years of immersion in Go had given her a calm, refined temperament, one that ordinary actors simply couldn't replicate. Then came Hikaru's meeting with Akira. Their first game ended with Akira narrowly losing, yet he immediately understood that the result was only because the boy sitting opposite him had been playing a teaching game. After that, CG Ogata's appearance at the children's Go competition. And that rain-soaked night. Akira, realizing Hikaru might be at the venue, rushed through the downpour, finally catching him just as he was about to leave. The three people watching had all read the manga. They knew every detail of what would come next. But what did knowing matter? The manga was nothing more than black and white panels. The TV series had music, movement, voices, and emotion given form. An hour passed. As the melancholic yet steady ending theme, Sincerely Ever Dream, began to play, viewers across the country who had been glued to Capital Television station suddenly snapped back to reality. That's it? It's over? What kind of show was this? I don't even understand Go, so how did I end up staring at the screen for a full hour? And Akira chased Hikaru so desperately just to meet him, why? Did he want revenge for that first loss? Another match? This show is actually really interesting. A Go TV series can be filmed like this. Sai is insanely handsome. Takagi hasn't acted in years, how did he come back playing a role like this? Wait, was there really a Go player named Sai in ancient times? During that chaotic era 1300 years ago, Japan went through more than a dozen regime changes in just 2 centuries. Some dynasties didn't even record the ruler's name, who's to say a number 1 Go player in the world couldn't have been forgotten. Interesting. But I came here for Kanzaki, why hasn't he shown up yet? Kanzaki plays adult Akira. You'll see him in another week or 2. Don't worry. Honestly, Akira and Hikaru are adorable, but the cutest one is still Sai. I'm a bit mad. It ended here? Is the screenwriter insane? Ha ha ha, you TV viewers are finally experiencing it too. We manga readers suffer like this every single week. It's pure torture. So what happens next? Can a manga reader spoil a little? Just tune in next week. I can only say this, next week's episode is really exciting. Don't even talk about next week. Which week of Hikaru no Go isn't exciting? The main plot is Hikaru growing up, getting crushed by strong opponents, then fighting his way back. The side plot is just watching Sai annihilate people at Go. I really want to see Sai play against Toyokoyo already. In Japan, manga readers were numerous, and in fact, the commercial scale of the animation market was even larger than that of television dramas. However, when it came to pure dissemination power, anime was always one step behind live-action TV series. Anime fans were loyal. They bought merchandise, discussed details deeply, and supported works for years, but TV dramas were watched by everyone, men and women, young and old. Even viewers who never bought merchandise would still participate in nationwide discussions during a show's broadcast period. That level of exposure was something anime simply couldn't match. Because of this, Hikaru no Go experienced an explosive surge in popularity. In truth, among the thousands of weekly readers of Dream Comic Journal, a significant portion bought the magazine but had never followed Hikaru no Go, flipping past it every week. From their perspective, what was so special about a Go manga, no matter how much discussion it generated? But after watching the first episode of the TV series with their families that night, many of them changed their minds completely. Countless readers dug out the back issues of Dream Comic Journal they had purchased over the past half year and began binge reading late into the night, trying to catch up with the manga's progress. After finishing the episode, Rei, Misaki, and Miyu went out together for a late-night snack. Not long after, Rei returned home alone. He opened his phone, logged into his account, and was greeted by an overwhelming flood of messages, fans praising the TV adaptation of Hikaru no Go. Rei let out a long breath, a faint smile finally appearing on his face. It seems, not only casual viewers like the TV series, he murmured. Even the original manga fans are satisfied. A weight that had pressed on his chest for days finally lifted. Exhaustion quickly followed. Not long after lying down, Rei fell into a deep sleep. But while Rei slept, the television industry quietly began to stir. Before its premiere, Hikaru no Go had already drawn enormous attention due to coordinated promotion from multiple sides. Viewers who never read manga were pulled in by the Go Association's publicity. Hardcore manga fans from Dream Comic, who normally never watched TV and spent their time on anime and games, dusted off remotes they hadn't touched in half a year and sat down in front of their televisions. And on top of that, Hikaru no Go had a solid cast. Because of all this, before the first episode even aired, Capital Television station's ratings had already reached 3.8%. In the Friday night 9 p.m. slot alone, this exceeded the station's 6-month average of 3.62%. After the episode aired, ratings continued to climb. The peak instantaneous rating hit 4.56%, while the episode's average rating settled at 4.29%. This result far surpassed the average performance of all TV series that had aired in the same time slot on Capital Television station over the past 6 months. From a data standpoint alone, this was already the second highest ranked new TV series to premiere in the first 3 days of October. Even more unexpected was the post-broadcast word of mouth. Viewers who understood Go praised the authenticity and competitive tension. Viewers who didn't understand Go said the story was still gripping and easy to follow. This dual approval was rare. Of course, a wave of new dramas was scheduled to premiere across various TV stations over the weekend, many of them backed by major investments. But no matter how one looked at it, Hikaru no Go's first episode performance was objectively strong. By Monday, when the first week broadcast data for the autumn TV drama season in Japan was officially released, the results became clear. The premiere episode of the Hikaru no Go TV series ranked 5th overall among all TV dramas that debuted this quarter. This result far exceeded the expectations that media outlets had predicted before the show aired, and even surpassed Hojimori Group's own internal estimates for the series' opening performance. Among all involved parties, only one organization appeared entirely unsurprised. During those days, the Go Association had been relentlessly reposting Hikaru no Go related news on its official platforms, almost to an excessive degree. Their message was unmistakable. Who said Go was declining in Japan? Look, so many people across the nation are watching a Go TV series. And if that's the case, why don't you investors take another look and put more money into Japan's professional Go League? Chapter 90, Conversation and Premonition. By Monday, Rei's school was packed. Tokyo had a developed economy, and celebrities lived everywhere, actors, singers, influencers. Seeing star chasers on the streets was nothing unusual. But Rei was a special case. Among all the celebrities in the city, his daily route was the easiest to predict. Homeschool rooftop home. That alone made him one of the easiest targets to surround, intercept, and ask for autographs. The school administration had long anticipated this. Security personnel were temporarily tripled, forming a human barrier that kept overly enthusiastic fans from rushing onto campus. Still, after the premiere of the Hikaru no Go TV series, the way people at school looked at Rei had fundamentally changed. That's him, Shirogane. I heard he's dating Miyu from the senior year. That's just a rumor. No one's ever seen them holding hands. Someone only saw them take a taxi together. No wonder Miyu's always been close to him. Everyone thought she had terrible taste back then. Wait, Did anyone read the production credits? The opening and ending themes were both created by Rei himself. That's insane. I heard senior Rei's grades are still top 50 in the year. That's impossible. Weekly manga drafts, TV and anime consultant work, and music composition? How does he even sleep? So this is what a real genius looks like. How much do you think he's earning? Tens of millions at minimum. Over 100 million yen doesn't sound impossible anymore. After the TV series aired, the manga ranking will definitely climb. Then the anime airs, this is just the beginning. Conversations like these followed Rei everywhere. Even though he'd mentally prepared himself, the constant glances still made his scalp prickle. High school students weren't as naive as people like to believe. That morning alone, Rei noticed several well-known school beauties coincidentally passing by him again and again. A manga artist classmate might not interest people who didn't read manga. But a 17-year-old with a projected annual income in the tens of millions? That made people calculate. And it wasn't just students. Even teachers had changed. During class, Rei noticed that voices once sharp and strict had softened. Some teachers met his eyes mid-lecture, nodded faintly, or lingered just a little longer when calling his name. He could only laugh bitterly. So this is what fame feels like. At noon, on the rooftop, Maya burst out laughing when she heard Rei complain, abandoning her usual gentle composure. That's normal, she said lightly. When my mother was alive, relatives like that appeared every holiday, concerned, affectionate, calculating. She paused, then smiled faintly. Once her inheritance went to my sister and they realized there was nothing to take, they disappeared. Rei fell silent. Maya continued, her tone turning serious. Right now, the people around you fall into categories. Some want to take art exams and think knowing you means access to actors. Some want to be friends and treat you like an investment. Some are attracted to your looks, and your future, and want to be your girlfriend so they can help you manage your money. She looked at him directly. You need to be careful. Rei's heart tightened. Hikaru no Go is already established. At your level, it's impossible for people not to approach you with motives. But you can't afford a single mistake. She lowered her voice. Say the wrong thing. Do the wrong thing. Let someone record it. If your image collapses, Hojimori Group won't hesitate to invoke breach of contract clauses. Rei knew she wasn't exaggerating. For someone like him, even being photographed smoking or drinking would be enough to damage public perception, let alone anything worse. A genius young manga artist wasn't just a title. It was an image that had to be managed like a celebrity's brand. In his previous life, he'd seen plenty of manga artists destroyed by exactly this. Mayu, Rei said quietly, how do you know all this so well? She smiled. Oh, these are the things my mother experienced back then. After all, my mother was a cheerful person who didn't like to suspect others, so she suffered a lot. Otherwise, why do you think I've kept my identity as the manga artist Saki hidden all this time? Mayu said calmly. Isn't it precisely because I'm afraid of running into people with ulterior motives? Thank you. There's no need, Mayu paused briefly. Helping you is also helping my sister. Because of you, she's gained real recognition in the manga editorial world. She's more motivated than ever now, and seeing her like that makes me happy. Then her tone shifted, becoming businesslike. But Rei, now that the Hikaru no Go TV series has aired, the next step is obvious. When the first season finishes, the anime will premiere. She continued without hesitation. That kind of exposure will bring enormous traffic to Hikaru no Go. But whether that attention turns into actual support votes, whether the ranking rises, still depends on one thing. The plot. She smiled faintly. You should seriously think about how to arrange the story for the next 2 or 3 months. You need a real climax. Even if it's just once, push into the top 3 of Hojimori comic. Her eyes shone with a hint of mischief. Let those 3-pillar series feel the pressure. Let them realize something, that the era of Japan's manga world has already begun to change. Plot. Rei murmured, falling silent. Mayu looked at him, surprised. Don't tell me you haven't thought about it yet. She knew him well. Rei wasn't the kind of creator who improvised blindly, he worked from structure, from a full outline. No, Rei replied. I've already planned everything, from now until the ending. He paused. It's just that. He didn't finish the sentence. The climax Maya was talking about, the one powerful enough to shake rankings, was inevitable. Sai's final game. Sai's disappearance. He knew he couldn't surpass the original. He knew Sai's fate couldn't be changed. And yet, knowing he would have to draw that arc himself, in just a few months, still made his chest feel heavy. I just hope I won't be cursed too badly by readers when the time comes, Rei said with a wry smile. Mayu's expression tightened. Rei. You're not planning to turn Hikaru no Go, a competitive Go manga, into some kind of soul-crushing tragedy, are you? Of course not, Rei laughed quickly. How could I? But deep down, he knew the truth. The entire story only had one truly painful moment. Just one. But that single moment was enough to stay with readers for a lifetime. Rei had carried it for 2 lives already, and even now, just thinking about drawing it still filled him with regret. That Wednesday, the latest chapter of Hikaru no Go was released alongside the magazine. The pacing accelerated sharply. In the main tournament, Hikaru displayed strength worthy of a true contender, carving out a solid winning streak. But no matter how strong a player was, exhaustion inevitably led to mistakes. Even Hikaru lost a match when his form faltered. The same happened to Isumi. Only Oki remained unshaken. Determined to secure professional certification with a flawless record, Oki continued forward. Then the plot turned cruelly dramatic. Just as both Hikaru's and Isumi's chances of advancement entered dangerous territory, the draw paired them against each other. The merciless matchmaking instantly made countless manga readers curse Shirogane in their hearts. Originally, the two's chances of advancing were already hanging by a thread, but at least the initiative was still in their hands. As long as they didn't lose another match and kept winning through the remainder of the main tournament, their promotion would still be relatively secure. But now that they were paired against each other, it meant one thing. Someone was guaranteed to lose. And whoever lost would no longer control their own fate. If they still wanted to become a professional Go player that year, they would have to depend on the final standings of hundreds of other candidates from the same cohort, clinging to nothing more than a so-called theoretical chance of advancement. The moment this pairing appeared, readers felt a suffocating sense of despair. With more than 30 promotion slots available, couldn't Shirogane just let Oki, Isumi, and Hikaru all advance? But Hikaru no Go was never a feel-good manga, nor a mindless wish-fulfillment story. It had drama, but it never softened the cruelty of Go simply to satisfy the audience. If the protagonist's group advanced smoothly without sacrifice, then the cruelty would merely be transferred to everyone outside that group, and that, too, would be dishonest. Although the manga never explicitly stated it, many readers had already realized the truth. This match between Hikaru and Isumi was the decisive one. The game that would determine who stepped into the professional world, and who was left behind. And in such a critical moment, Isumi's long-standing flaw resurfaced. Overwhelmed by pressure, he made a blunder. Then, almost instinctively, he moved the stone back with his finger. The entire action took less than a second. But Hikaru, Sai standing behind him, and Isumi himself all understood immediately. He had committed a foul. Under the rules, Isumi would be disqualified on the spot. Whether that disqualification would actually occur depended on one person alone. Hikaru. The final page of the chapter showed Hikaru frozen in place, his expression blank, unable to decide. He was already at a disadvantage in the game. If he protested, he would win immediately. If he ignored the foul and continued playing, could he still overturn the board from this position? Hikaru's hesitation seemed to spill straight out of the manga and into reality. This was not just a game. It was a choice that determined a professional Go career. After the chapter's release, an enormous debate erupted on Dream Comics' official website. One side supported Hikaru letting the matter slide. They argued that Isumi's mistake was born of nerves, corrected almost instantly, and didn't deserve such a merciless punishment. More than that, Isumi had helped Hikaru countless times, training his mentality, taking him to Go clubs, and supporting him throughout the exam. Without Isumi, Hikaru might never have made it this far. Letting it go was simply returning that kindness. The other side was uncompromising. Rules were rules. This was a professional qualification match. Losing here could mean elimination even with perfect results afterward. Hikaru was already behind, how could he possibly give up the one chance handed to him by the rules? With the Hikaru no Go TV series airing that same week and drawing in a wave of new viewers, the argument exploded far beyond the usual manga readership. For the first time, discussions surrounding Hikaru no Go completely overwhelmed every other series on Hashimori's official platform. Chapter 91, A Step Further. Throughout the night, discussions about Hikaru no Go on the official Dream Comic Journal website never ceased. By this point, the direction of the story was no longer difficult to infer. Many readers had already realized something unsettling. Izumi was in serious danger this year. His character had always been defined by one fatal flaw: his inability to withstand pressure at critical moments. For 3 consecutive years, Izumi had entered the professional Go player examinations with terrifying momentum. 6 straight victories. An undefeated opening streak that made him look invincible. And then, without exception, everything would collapse. One loss in the middle of the tournament was enough to drain him completely. His composure would shatter, his rhythm would crumble, and he would spiral into consecutive defeats, missing professional qualification year after year. Some players from the same dojo, players Izumi could defeat with ease, had already become professionals 2 years earlier, simply because the matching system favored them. And this year, Izumi ran into Hikaru once again. Under overwhelming pressure, he turned a favorable position into a losing one. A stone that should have gone to the upper half was placed in the wrong direction. Then, in a moment of panic, he committed an unmistakable foul by moving a stone after it had already been placed. For Hikaru no Go fans, the focus was on the cruel turn of the plot. But inside Hojimori Group's editorial department, attention was fixed elsewhere. Votes. Rankings. Numbers. The first episode of the Hikaru no Go TV series had only aired last Friday. This week's magazine ranking would be the first clear indicator of how much traffic the adaptation was bringing back to the original manga. No one expected Hikaru no Go to immediately overtake Love Prism, which had been sitting comfortably at 4th place for a long time. But at the very least, a noticeable increase in vote count was expected. Early that morning, several editors had already gathered to discuss the situation. Hikaru no Go is definitely moving up today. I think it'll break into the top 4. Last week the gap between Hikaru no Go and Love Prism was 32,000 votes. Can the TV series really close that? The drama ranked 5th in viewership among all new series in the first week of October. And after yesterday's Dream Comic release, Hikaru no Go's discussion volume was already rivaling Source War Chronicle. I've got a bad feeling for Love Prism. Hey, show some respect. You're saying all this right in front of the editor responsible for Love Prism. What can we do? Hikaru no Go is outrageous. Shirogane isn't one of those so-called geniuses artificially propped up by group resources. This one feels real. Real genius or not, last week Love Prism still had more votes. The advantage is still mine. Why are you all so eager to declare defeat? Mid-sentence, the editor in charge of Love Prism suddenly stopped talking. Misaki arrived. Dressed in a crisp white shirt and a light green floral skirt that reached her knees, she walked into the office area with calm composure and took her seat. The entire editorial floor fell silent. Among the Dream Comic editors, most of whom were over 35, Misaki was not only the youngest, but also the only woman. More importantly, she was the editor responsible for Hikaru no Go. Before her arrival, everyone could joke freely about Love Prism's possible fall. But now, the atmosphere shifted. Hikaru no Go was the biggest dark horse Dream Comic had seen in years. Once the TV series and the upcoming animation fully entered their peak periods, no one could predict where its ranking ceiling truly lay. 4th place? Top 3? With Hikaru no Go's momentum, and Misaki's famously decisive personality, the competitive tension outweighed all casual camaraderie. Jokes that were harmless moments ago were now carefully avoided. Misaki herself, however, didn't care. She hadn't entered this industry to socialize. She wasn't there for money either. The salary of an editor, even after 10 years, couldn't match the annual interest from her mother's inheritance. She worked here for one reason only: she loved manga. And right now, there was only one thing on her mind. What was Hikaru no Go's latest popularity ranking? Still 5th, as it had been for the past month? Or, had it finally surpassed Love Prism? A romance juggernaut with 5 seasons and 74 episodes of animation, 3 live-action seasons aired over 2 years, and an average per-volume sales figure of 6.98 million copies. Officially challenging the top 3 ranked works in Dream Comic, Source War Chronicle, The Wanderer, and Fist Armor. After office hours began, the editorial department fell into an unnatural quiet. Everyone appeared to be working. But in reality, more than half the people present were repeatedly refreshing their inboxes. The popularity ranking document was compiled by the group's data department and, by convention, sent to all editors by 9:30 am. Sometimes earlier. Just as Misaki refreshed her email for the 7th time, the file she had been waiting for finally appeared. She opened it immediately and scanned from top to bottom. 1 Source War Chronicle, total votes, 875,623. 2 The Wanderer, total votes, 756,985. 3 Fist Armor, total votes, 623,587. Misaki took a slow breath and rolled the mouse wheel. The next line appeared. 4 Hikaru no Go, total votes, 448,753. 5 Love Prism, total votes, 402,323. She didn't bother looking further down. Last week, Hikaru no Go's total vote count had been far lower. In just 7 days, it had surged by more than 70,000 votes, not only overtaking Love Prism but opening a gap of over 40,000. In Dream Comic, that kind of fluctuation was abnormal. Everyone in the editorial department understood the reason. The TV series premiere. The adaptation had pulled in a massive number of casual viewers, people who had never read the manga before, and converted them into voters. One by one, editors realized the ranking file had arrived. As they opened it and confirmed that Hikaru no Go had indeed climbed to 4th place, a quiet wave of reaction spread through the office. Sighs. Lingering stares. Complex expressions turned toward Misaki. The year Shirogane rose to prominence in the manga industry, it was the same year Misaki rose with him. Everyone knew that the two biggest discoveries of Hojimori Group in recent years, Shirogane and Saki, had both been found by her. And everyone also knew that Misaki's mother had been a long-time collaborator and close friend of Han, the editor-in-chief of the group. Rather than saying a new star had risen among manga artists, it would be more accurate to say that within the comic editorial world, at least inside Hojimori Group, a new star editor was rising as well. A woman in her 20s, already responsible for a top 4 ranked work in Driram Comic Journal. How far could she go? Congratulations! Editor Misaki, congratulations! Several editors spoke quietly. Misaki nodded in acknowledgement. Her gaze then shifted to Jiro. The editor in charge of Love Prism stared at his screen for more than 10 seconds before finally letting out a sigh. Then he spoke, his voice calm, not loud, but clearly audible. Editor Misaki, congratulations! Love Prism has been 4th in the rankings for 2 years. He gave a faint smile. To be honest, I was getting tired of seeing the same numbers. Then he added. But don't stop here. Everyone understood what he meant. Since Hikaru no Go had already pushed Love Prism down, then the top 3 shouldn't feel comfortable either. For the past 2 years, Jiro's greatest hope had been to see Love Prism break into the top 3. That dream hadn't come true. Instead of moving forward, he had been pushed back. But now that his work had fallen, if Source War Chronicle, The Wanderer and Fist Armor were also dragged down 1 rank, he suspected he'd laugh harder than he would grieve. That's only natural, Misaki replied. Hikaru no Go's popularity ranking had officially entered the top 4. She looked again at the top of the list. The gap between Hikaru no Go and Fist Armor, ranked 3rd, was still enormous. Over 200,000 votes. A chasm that couldn't be crossed through weekly serialization alone. To bridge it, there was only one path. The adaptations. The live-action drama. The upcoming anime. Misaki was certain of one thing. The quarterly viewership performance of the Hikaru no Go TV series would directly determine the manga's ranking for the same period. She exhaled slowly. At this point, there was nothing more she could do. Hikaru no Go had already received as much preferential treatment as the group could reasonably give. Further resource allocation was unlikely. All she could do now was silently wish Rei luck. And wish the TV series. And the anime set to premiere next quarter. Chapter 92, Popularity and Challenges. While the Hikaru no Go manga reached the critical turning point of Izumi and Hikaru's match, Friday night saw the broadcast of episode 2 of the Hikaru no Go TV series at 9 p.m. This episode opened with young Akira, still carried away by Hikaru's earlier words, challenging him for a second time, only to be decisively defeated. One thing that drew widespread praise was the casting of young Akira in the live-action adaptation. When calm, the boy's performance was gentle and refined, carrying an innate sense of pride and restraint. When anger flared, he was like a young lion pushed into a corner. Despite his age, his acting struck deeply with viewers. Though his appearance differed somewhat from the manga, his temperament was almost perfectly reproduced. If the first episode left the audience exhilarated, then the second match between Hikaru and Akira in episode 2 brought a heavy, almost suffocating pressure. The scene in which Akira lowered his head and cried silently over the Go board after his defeat moved countless viewers, even those who knew nothing about Go. To many people, Go was merely a game, something to pass the time. But to those who aspired to become professional Go players, Go was everything. It was their entire world. Later in the episode, Toya Koyo made his appearance. Facing him across the board, Hikaru felt the crushing pressure of a true professional. Overwhelmed by Toya's calm, elegant, and commanding style, Hikaru, driven by instinct rather than instruction, made his first move using a proper, formal hand placement technique of his own will. The moment the stone touched the board, Sai's astonished expression, Toya Koyo's solemn gaze, and the perfectly timed music all converged. As the ending theme Sincerely Ever Dream began to play, the episode came to an end. Once again, Hikaru no Go left its audience desperate for more. That week, not only adults but even children flooded online forums to share their thoughts after watching the show. Hikaru is so cool. Can I play Go like him? Is Go hard? Where can I learn? Akira's devotion to Go, Toya Koyo's seriousness, and Sai chasing the hand of God, it really moved me. No wonder the original manga is so famous. Even someone like me who doesn't understand Go was completely hooked. I can't wait anymore. I'm buying the tankban to catch up. Same here. You'd better hurry. I went to 7 bookstores today, volumes 1 and 2 of Hikaru no Go were completely sold out. Volume 3 won't last long either. Didn't Hojimori Group coordinate with the printing factory in advance? This is way too amateur. This show is amazing. I was genuinely moved. Tomorrow I'm signing my son up for Go lessons. Can anyone spoil what happens later? No spoilers. A real Hikaru no Go fan wouldn't ruin it. A professional Go player is live streaming an official breakdown of tonight's matches on the Go Association account. The Go Association really knows what it's doing. Of course they do. It's rare to have a Go drama the public actually embraces. So does Hikaru just casually become a pro and win world championships? Not even close. The manga is still in the professional promotion tournament. And trust me, the later arcs are incredible, especially the promotion tournament. With massive discussion traffic, amateur Go players began voluntarily writing guides, explaining rules, and breaking down the matches from the TV series to help newcomers understand the game. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell, the popularity of Hikaru no Go in its second week far surpassed its first. 2 weeks into the October drama season, truly outstanding works were rare. Yet Hikaru no Go, with its novel subject matter, stellar reputation, and passionate support from original manga readers, was repeating the very path of its manga. Quietly, steadily, becoming the dark horse of the TV drama market. After a single night, the next morning, Capital Television Station officially announced the viewership data for episode 2 of the Hikaru no Go TV series. The episode opened with a 4.03% rating, reached a peak of 4.79%, and recorded an average viewership of 4.41%. Compared to last week's peak of 4.56% and average of 4.29%, this was a clear and steady increase. Over the next 2 days, as the second episodes of this quarter's flagship dramas from major broadcasters, such as Tokyo Television Station and Kyoto Television Station, were successively aired, the Week 2 viewership rankings for Japan's autumn dramas were released. Second week of October drama viewership rankings. Clinic in the Reverse Light, 4.86%. Our Little Sister, 4.71%. Hikaru no Go, 4.41%. Among the top 2 works, Clinic in the Reverse Light was adapted from a medical novel by a well-known author. The original novel itself had sold tens of millions of copies, giving it an exceptionally strong foundation. Our Little Sister, meanwhile, was a remake of a famous foreign television series and already enjoyed broad public recognition. That said, Hikaru no Go was hardly weak. The 4th tankban volume sold 2.01 million copies in a single week. Judging from this momentum, an average of 6 million copies per volume was well within reach. If the manga continued for a longer run, total sales reaching tens of millions, or even over 100 million copies, was by no means unrealistic. In Japan, where the commercial ecosystem surrounding animation is exceptionally mature, anime-related works possess the strongest monetization potential. Even when compared to novels, the combined scale of the film and television industry often struggles to match it. Rei's previous life Japan had already proven this point. There, the annual market size of television dramas was measured in the hundreds of billions of yen, while the animation industry alone reached 3 to 4 trillion yen. Ultimately, the real profits of such works did not lie in broadcasting fees, but in merchandising. Many manga were adapted into anime or live-action series primarily to drive traffic back to the original work, not because animation or television alone was the primary revenue source. Of course, exceptions like Demon Slayer existed, but they were precisely that, exceptions. Before its premiere, the television industry had not been particularly optimistic about the Hikaru no Go TV series. After all, Hikaru no Go was not considered a top-tier manga nationwide. It had only climbed to 4th place in Dream Comic Journal after benefiting from television-driven traffic. And Japan had 6 major comic journals like Hojimori Comic. In other words, at any given time, 20 to 30 manga of comparable scale were being serialized simultaneously. Moreover, manga typically achieved explosive popularity only after animation, not live-action adaptation. Many such adaptations were openly mocked by fans as being tragically adapted into live-action. Yet here was Hikaru no Go. Week 1, top 5 in viewership. Week 2, already 3rd place. The industry was stunned. What was happening? In truth, REI had already anticipated this outcome. Television broadcasts were fundamentally different from manga serialization. Watching TV carried virtually no cost, and every household could tune in effortlessly. Once a high-quality work gained traction, its rise was far faster than that of a manga relying on weekly magazines and tankban releases. The strength of Hikaru no Go's original story was beyond doubt, and the production team had approached the adaptation with genuine care and respect. With both the original work and its adaptation maintaining high quality, and with the autumn season lacking overwhelming competitors, it was only natural that Hikaru no Go surged in viewership. Still, the results felt almost excessive. Headlines soon followed. Hojimori Group's genius manga artist Shirogane sees Hikaru no Go rise to 3rd in viewership and 4th in magazine rankings. Will his bold words from last year come true? Could Hikaru no Go claim this year's annual manga award? Hikaru no Go ignites public interest in the Go industry. Go Association website traffic up 1.8 times, searches for professional promotion tournaments triple year-on-year. Hikaru no Go surges on hot searches. Among all TV series premiering this quarter, Hikaru no Go records the highest approval ratings across all age groups and the highest volume of post-broadcast discussion. The school attended by genius manga artist Shirogane recently besieged by Hikaru no Go fans, campus gates temporarily impassable. The school issues public statement urging fans to follow the manga and TV series rationally, and not to transfer their affection for Hikaru no Go onto Shirogane himself. With only half a year remaining until the college entrance examination, the school hopes the public will allow Shirogane to focus on his studies without disruption. Shoma, president of the Japan's Go Association, and Minato, 3-time former world champion, jointly accept media interviews, praising the Hikaru no Go IP for making immense contributions to the Japan's Go industry. Conservative estimates suggest that the number of people influenced by Hikaru no Go to learn or understand Go has already exceeded tens, or even hundreds, of thousands. Online live broadcast popularity and viewership of Japan's Go, a league professional league increased by 75% compared to pre-Hikaru no Go levels. Multiple professional players state that since the manga's serialization, a large number of fans have begun attending matches offline to support them. Undoubtedly, the Hikaru no Go TV series had an immediate and explosive effect on expanding the influence of the Hikaru no Go IP. As the TV series gained popularity, it simultaneously ignited enthusiasm for the manga itself, the game of Go, professional leagues, Go training institutions, and numerous related industries. Driven by continuous media coverage and the fervent support of manga and TV series fans alike, Hikaru no Go reached its highest popularity peak since serialization during the second week of October. At the same time, the previously steady sales curve of the Hikaru no Go tankban volume suddenly steepened. On Monday, REI directly took leave from school and followed Misaki to Hojimori Group headquarters. With the Hikaru no Go TV series exploding in popularity, the group's corresponding promotional efforts naturally had to keep pace. Scheduled interview recordings, controlled disclosures about the future direction of Hikaru no Go's plot, and short promotional videos for Dream Comic Journal were already lined up. These activities occurred roughly every half-month, and REI had long since grown accustomed to them. However, upon arriving at Hojimori Group this time, REI clearly sensed a change in how internal staff viewed him. Although everyone still addressed him as Teacher Shirogane, the tone was no longer merely polite convention. Before, few people truly took a 17-year-old manga artist seriously. Now, even mid to high-level executives greeted him with noticeably greater respect. After all, who could say whether Hikaru no Go's current momentum might eventually shake one of the three-pillar manga of Dream Comic Journal? Not to mention that tankban sales were now soaring. Still, there was a quiet sense of regret among some within the group. If only REI's breakout work had been a different genre. While Hikaru no Go had proven extraordinarily effective at promoting the game of Go, the commercial ceiling of Go-themed manga simply could not match that of battle or fantasy series. Rather than Hojimori Group being the greatest beneficiary of Hikaru no Go's explosive popularity, it seemed that the Japan's Go industry itself had gained even more. On Tuesday, Hojimori Group struck while the iron was hot, releasing a short interview video featuring REI on its official website ahead of the latest chapter's serialization. Such videos were usually filled with harmless fluff, but they attracted large audiences nonetheless. And among those viewers, some were always paying very close attention. Indeed, sharp-eyed fans quickly noticed an intriguing exchange. When the interviewer directly asked REI how long Hikaru no Go would continue serialization, REI answered clearly. When Sai finds the hand of God, the manga will rapidly approach its conclusion. Sai finds the hand of God? At the very least, that would require Sai to face the world's strongest Go player of the current era. The professional promotion tournament arc alone had already run for an extended period. For Hikaru to reach 9 Dan, and for Sai to stand opposite Toya Koyo, would realistically require several more years of serialization. And yet, the hand of God. What kind of move could truly deserve such a title? The characters inside the manga might be easily convinced. But what about reality? With so many professional Go players closely following this work, how would Rika, Hikaru no Go's collaborator, together with the Go Association, design a match worthy of being called the Hand of God? Chapter 93, The Hand of God's Idea and Choice. Actually, according to the current serialization pace of Hikaru no Go, once the professional Go player promotion tournament concluded, the story would immediately transition into the decisive match between Sai and Toya Koyo. And after that, Sai's disappearance. REI was fully aware of this. In fact, he had already been asking Rika to help him search through historical Go records, looking for a game that could genuinely be called the Hand of God, so that it could be adapted and woven into Hikaru no Go. But it could only be said that while Japan's Go history contained countless brilliant moves, stunning Tatsujis and ingenious endgame reversals, a match that truly embodied something on the level of the Hand of God, as portrayed in the manga, had simply never existed. Of course, REI could forcibly adapt some famous historical games. But if he did that, then the Hand of God that shocked Sai to his very soul, the move that marked the end of his 1,000-year pursuit and led to his disappearance, would likely feel underwhelming to professional Go players. Many would inevitably scoff. This counts as the Hand of God. Rika's inability to find a suitable match did not surprise REI in the slightest. After all, Japan's overall Go environment was weaker than that of Japan in his previous life. In that world, especially after the advent of the AI era, Go had undergone explosive evolution. The competitive intensity in this Japan simply wasn't on the same level, and naturally, the peak of its Go records fell short. As for what game could truly serve as the Hand of God, REI was not completely without ideas. In his previous life, there were two world-shaking human vs AI Go matches. Lee Sedol vs AlphaGo. G vs AlphaGo. Among them, only Lee Sedol managed to win a single game, the legendary fourth match. After losing 3 consecutive games and already being declared defeated in the Man vs Machine showdown, Lee Sedol abandoned all obsession with victory or defeat. And in that moment, he played a move that even AlphaGo had not foreseen. A move that reversed the game. The only victory humanity ever claimed against early AlphaGo. That move was praised by countless professional players and Go enthusiasts as a real-world Hand of God. That game was etched deeply into REI's memory. After all, anything he had seen in his previous life could be replayed in his mind as vividly as a film. Hikaru no Go itself had been brought into this world in precisely that way. However, if possible, Rei still didn't want to resort to this option. Because if he used that match as the battle between Sai and Toyokoyo, several problems followed. He would need to extract Lee Sedol's famous 78th move before it was played, find two top-tier Go players to reconstruct the board position, and have them complete the remainder of the game faithfully. Moreover, Rei's own Go skill was limited. Explaining how he obtained such an inexplicable game record would be troublesome. But those concerns were ultimately secondary. No matter how suspicious professional Go players might be, they could never imagine the truth. That this was the only victory a 14-time world champion had ever achieved against an AI from another world. Sai's millennium-long obsession had always been about one thing: the hand of God. And after the AI era, even calling AlphaGo a Go god would not be an exaggeration. Every move it played was, in a sense, divine. If this game were serialized in the manga, even strictest professional players would be unable to find fault with it. And Sai reaching the end of the way of Go, then disappearing after witnessing such a move, would feel completely natural. As for where the game record came from, Rei took a deep breath, then smiled faintly. If anyone asked, he could simply say, Sai taught me this game. It was a joke. But not entirely a joke. People would probably assume it was a private match played by some forgotten master. No one would ever have the imagination to guess the real source. On Wednesday, the latest issue of Dream Comic was released. Along with it, Chapter 40 of Hikaru no Go was officially serialized. Early that morning, Aoyama Sayuri was already waiting outside the bookstore. Naturally, she didn't care in the slightest about Hikaru no Go's explosive rise in popularity due to the TV drama. What she cared about was how the match between Hikaru and Izumi, which ended last week in Hikaru no Go, would conclude. Would Hikaru pretend not to see Izumi's regretful move? Or would Hikaru, in order to win, refuse to let Izumi off, reporting the foul and taking the victory? Honestly, if she were Hikaru, she would definitely report Izumi. But unfortunately, she was just a spectator. She hoped that Hikaru would ignore Izumi's muddled mistake, allow him to retract the move, and then defeat him fair and square. Likewise, many Hikaru no Go fans shared Sayuri's thoughts. You could say that Hikaru no Go had a slow pace and an unclear main plot. But the cliffhangers in every chapter were absolutely top tier, so suffocating that fans felt like killing someone every single week. After chatting briefly with others who were buying Dream Comic and Hikaru no Go Tankban while lining up at the register, Sayuri took the magazine back to her company. After all, she was the boss of this small firm. And as a boss, going out during work hours to buy manga, and then reading it during work hours, was perfectly reasonable. Chapter 40 of Hikaru no Go continued directly from last week's plot. Izumi felt a chill crawl down his spine when he realized that his unconscious movement, made out of impatience, had constituted a foul. Hikaru, too, stared blankly at his opponent, his heart locked in turmoil. Sai, you saw it, didn't you? Hikaru asked silently. Before Izumi moved the stone just now, his finger left the piece, right? I'm not sure, Sai replied solemnly. Do you want to ask him, Hikaru? Izumi's record against me has always been terrible. Whoever loses this game might not get promoted. Even someone as strong as him has failed year after year. Hikaru struggled inwardly. Hikaru, Sai said firmly, don't you want to continue? Even from a disadvantage, there's still a way to turn this around. Hikaru picked up a stone. Sayuri held her breath. This move would decide everything. If Hikaru placed the stone, it meant letting Izumi off and moving past the foul. How would he choose? I know Izumi's strength better than anyone. Playing from this position, I'll probably lose. But if he fouled just now, then I win. Hikaru's thoughts spiraled. Sayuri's heart twisted along with his. Reporting the foul would be entirely justified. Against anyone else, not doing so would make readers call Hikaru a saint. But this was Izumi. Izumi was already old, this year and the next were his last chances. If he failed again, he would never become a professional Go player. Hikaru, on the other hand, was only 13 or 14. With Sai guiding him, was there any doubt he'd make it eventually? At most, it was just a difference of 1 year. And without Izumi, Hikaru would have been eliminated long ago. When the bearded examinee shattered Hikaru's mentality, it was Izumi who stayed by his side, dragging him to Go clubs, forcing him to face every kind of opponent, helping him rebuild his mindset. This game could decide Izumi's entire life. Did Hikaru really want to win like this? Sigh. I want one more win, Hikaru thought desperately. And Isumi hasn't said anything. That means he wants to keep fighting too. Just as Hikaru was about to speak, Sayuri turned the page. A massive black and white spread filled her vision, an upward angle showing Isumi, Hikaru, and the edge of the Go board. Hikaru, Isumi, I resign. Hikaru did not seize the opportunity. And Isumi, after his own internal struggle, chose not to continue a match tainted by humiliation. Both of them went through endless internal struggles during that brief moment. But in the end, they both chose to abide by the rules. Sayuri's eyes reddened. She looked at Isumi in the manga, his head lowered, lips bitten tight, silently putting away the stones. She looked at Hikaru, who had technically won the game, yet looked even worse than if he had lost. Her heart was filled with tangled, conflicting emotions. Even if Hikaru hadn't spoken, Isumi would probably have resigned anyway, driven by his pride. But precisely at the moment Isumi opened his mouth to resign, Hikaru had also spoken, ready to hold Isumi accountable for the foul. That made the choice even more painful for Hikaru. People often overestimate themselves during ordinary times. Only when their direct interests are on the line do they truly understand what choice their heart will make. For Isumi, the reason he hadn't resigned immediately was also because of a faint sliver of hope. Maybe Hikaru hadn't seen it clearly. But Hikaru's prolonged hesitation, his delay in placing the stone, caused Isumi's pride to finally overwhelm that last bit of wishful thinking. And for Hikaru, winning the game mattered more than his personal friendship with Isumi. Neither of them was wrong. The one at fault was Shirogane. Why would you make two people this close meet in such a decisive, life-altering match? Sayuri continued reading. Chapter 94, Tears. Because he was deeply shaken after losing to Hikaru in the morning, Isumi lost again in the afternoon match. She couldn't even bear to watch. Isumi was too miserable. He was the oldest, the one who needed promotion the most. Yet in the end, you lost to your closest friend, becoming a stepping stone beneath his feet. If Hikaru and Oka both succeeded in promotion, then what would become of you? Before this, her understanding of the professional promotion tournament had been simple. If you lost, you lost. If your skill wasn't enough, you tried again next year. But now, she only felt cruelty. For someone like Isumi, who had staked his entire life on Go, how many next years were there left? And Hikaru, too, was deeply shaken by that morning's match. He had always beaten Isumi at the dojo. Yet this victory felt heavier than any defeat. Back home, Hikaru slammed his pillow onto the bed. I still had a chance, even if it was small. Why did I? Tears welled up in his eyes. When I realized I could win because of a foul, all I could think about was grabbing that chance. It's because I'm weak. Because I couldn't win cleanly, I chose the rules instead. Hikaru collapsed onto the bed, tears soaking the pillow. She felt her eyes sting. This was growth. Painful. Cruel. And unavoidable. Sai only looked at Hikaru gently, then pointed to the Go board beside the bed. Hikaru, he said softly. Let's finish the game we left yesterday. I'll take Isumi's place. You must make a clean break, and then walk forward tomorrow. At that moment, Sai felt like light itself. But Hikaru had Sai. What about Isumi? Who would pull him back from the edge? The next day, Hikaru steadied himself and did not lose again. Oka continued his flawless winning streak, advancing without hesitation. But for Isumi, the path was nearly closed. Even if he won every remaining match, he would still have to rely on others' results. And if players like Hikaru and Oka did not falter, then Isumi's chances. She turned the page. Chapter 40, End. Who? She exhaled slowly. She didn't understand Go. She had never been a Go player. She had never even watched a single professional Go League match. But for the first time, she had felt, viscerally, the cruelty of the professional Go world. She turned on the television in her office and switched to the sports channel. At that moment, the screen was replaying a Japanese professional Go League match. For the first time in her life, she had the patience to sit down and watch something like this. She still didn't fully understand the flow of the game. But she could watch it now. After this chapter was released, the comment section under REI's account on the Dream Comic official website exploded before noon. Teacher Shirogane, don't do this to us. Let Isumi get promoted. Exactly. There are over 30 promotion spots. One more for Izumi won't hurt. Just let us dream a little in the manga. It wouldn't ruin anything if Izumi succeeded this year. I cried. I really cried. Watching Izumi resign was unbearable. I hate stories where friendship collides with competition like this. I haven't cried reading manga in years, but this chapter destroyed me. I broke down when Hikaru cried in his room, saying he was useless, that if he were strong enough he wouldn't have thought about winning through a foul. Hikaru is just a normal person. He wants to win. He wants to become a pro. He wants to catch up to Akira. But Izumi wasn't someone he could easily overcome. If this keeps going, Hikaru no Go will absolutely become a classic of Japanese manga. In my heart, Hikaru no Go is already #1 on Dream Comic. Same. If teacher Shirogane lets Izumi get promoted and shows the three of them competing together as pros, I'll buy every piece of merchandise this series releases. Before this, the promotion tournament arc had been steady and restrained. Wins were wins. Losses were losses. Readers accepted that. But after this chapter, even long-time lurkers surfaced in droves. The discussion heat for Hikaru no Go burned all day without cooling, and with TV drama viewers pouring in, the intensity made even Hojimori Group staff uneasy. Why was the reaction even stronger than last week? The next morning, 9:30 a.m. Misaki opened her email as she always did. The top 3 remained unchanged. 1 Source War Chronicle. 2 The Wanderer. 3 Fist Armor. Their vote totals were nearly identical to last week. Only Hikaru no Go. This week's total had surged to 496,321 votes. Just a breath away from 500,000. Still ranked 4th. But this 4th place was now dangerously close to Fist Armor. So close that the editorial office fell into a long, heavy silence. How could it be rising this fast? TV adaptations did bring traffic, but was this level even reasonable? If this momentum continued, how long could Fist Armor really hold on to 3rd place? Comment. 10 Comment. Vote. Chapter 95, Request. On Friday, the 3rd episode of the Hikaru no Go TV series aired. Each episode was a full hour long, so its narrative content far exceeded that of the manga. The first season of the Hikaru no Go TV series only covered Hikaru's early encounters with Akira Toya, culminating in the school team Go tournament and ending with Hikaru's middle school suffering 3 consecutive crushing defeats. Thus, in the 3rd episode, the story focused on Hikaru, still only a 6th grader, secretly sneaking into a team tournament that was supposed to be restricted to middle school students. At first, Hikaru played casually and without seriousness. But once he learned that the team's results would determine whether the Go Club would be officially recognized by the school, everything changed. In the final match, Sai took over from a position of overwhelming disadvantage and single-handedly turned the game around, shocking every student and Go instructor present. This episode could be described as the most exhilarating installment of the Hikaru no Go TV series since its premiere. Although Hikaru himself was still a beginner, Sai's overwhelming performance caused Hikaru to instantly become famous among middle school Go enthusiasts throughout the city. Some even began to believe that his strength had already surpassed that of his peer, Akira Toya. By the time Hikaru no Go had been airing for 3 weeks, its popularity had entered a completely new phase. It was no longer just manga fans spreading the work. Casual television viewers now far outnumbered its original audience. Moreover, following the broadcast of the TV series, enthusiasm for Go-related activities across Japan surged dramatically. The most direct impact was seen in Go training classes. These institutions had already experienced a modest rise in enrollment due to the manga's popularity, but the TV series brought in an entirely new wave of students. From 4-year-old children to middle-aged adults, interest in learning Go reached heights not seen in years. 2 days later, viewership data for the 3rd episode was released. With an average rating of 4.79%, Hikaru no Go ranked 2nd among all TV series premiering in Japan during the 3rd week of October. At this point, the nation's media outlets could no longer remain restrained. Previously, although the Hikaru no Go TV series and manga had received consistent praise, neither had yet reached the very top of their respective fields. As a result, media coverage had been cautious. But now, things were different. The ratings for Clinic in the Reverse Light and Our Little Sister, the 2 series that had been leading since their premieres, had stabilized. And stability, in the television industry, often meant limited future growth. Hikaru no Go, on the other hand, had increased its ratings for 3 consecutive weeks, rising to second place by the third week. What about next week? And the week after that? Judging from the current momentum, it was only a matter of time before Hikaru no Go claimed the top spot in the ratings. Media headlines soon followed. Genius manga artist Shirogana's adaptation Hikaru no Go sees explosive ratings growth. The third episode reaches 4.79%, ranking second for the period. Will episode 4 take the crown this quarter? Advertisers rush in, product placements for Hikaru no Go increase from 7 to 16. With production and promotion costs of 20 million, the series is poised to become the most profitable drama of the season. A 17-year-old's Go dream, Hikaru no Go reveals the cruelty and beauty of the professional Go world to the public. Renowned professional Go player Leighton praises Hikaru no Go, stating it has made an enormous contribution to the development of Go in Japan and expressing interest in meeting teacher Shirogane. A nationwide Go learning boom ignited by Hikaru no Go. After the success of Hikaru no Go, registered Go-themed TV projects in Japan increase from 0 in 20 years to 3. Is a new genre about to rise? Once media professionals went all in, news related to Hikaru no Go flooded manga and television websites alike. The popularity of the work had become unmistakable, even to those who had never read the manga or watched the series. It seemed this manga wouldn't need to wait for an anime adaptation to become popular, the TV series alone was already turning it into a phenomenon. On Monday, Rika arrived at Rei's house at her usual time to discuss how to customize the Go game records for the upcoming manga chapters. However, today was different. After Rei briefly summarized the plot direction of Chapter 46 of Hikaru no Go and explained his requirements for the Go match design, he paused, then deliberately changed the subject. Rika, Rei said, taking a deep breath, I need to trouble you with something else. Oh. Rika smiled brightly. As long as it's something I can do, it won't be a problem. Originally, Rika had only been assigned to cooperate with Rei because of her relative, the vice president of the Go Association. But now, as the official Go game designer for Hikaru no Go, she had unexpectedly gained a large following of her own. Every day, fans flooded her inbox with questions about the manga. Just like in Rei's previous life, traffic meant value. Even professional Go players had to make a living. Once popularity arrived, income naturally followed. Because of this, Rika's attitude toward Rei had become genuinely warm and respectful. Rei hesitated briefly, then spoke. I'd like you to introduce me to at least 2 world-class top Go players, he said seriously. And I hope they can help me complete a game that hasn't been finished yet, playing with everything they have. Rika blinked. I want to use this game, Rei continued, as the Hand of God, the divine move in the manga. Rika froze. The Hand of God? Rei, are you serious? Something like the Hand of God was a theoretical concept. No one had ever truly seen it. She and Rei had discussed this problem more than once. If that plot point ever arrived, the safest solution would be to modify a historical game containing a brilliant, tide-turning move. But now Rei was asking her to find 2 top-tier players and have them play the Hand of God? Rei immediately understood her reaction. I'm not asking you to find the Hand of God, he clarified. I already have an idea for it. What I lack, he continued calmly, is the complete game leading up to it, played by 2 top players at their absolute peak. Rika frowned slightly, thinking. In the original manga, Sai had played against Koyo Toya and won. But afterward, Hikaru realized something astonishing. In that game, Toya had actually possessed a move that could have reversed everything. Rei's plan was to bring something even more extreme into the manga. In his previous life, there had been 2 legendary human vs AI Go battles. One of them was the 4th game between Lee Sedol and AlphaGo. Lee Sedol had already lost 3 consecutive games. The overall match was decided. By the 4th game, he had abandoned all thoughts of victory or defeat. In the opening and mid-game, he was overwhelmingly behind. Almost every professional Go player watching believed the 4th game would end just like the first 3. Then, Lee Sedol played move 78. A move so unnatural, so unexpected, that even the AI could not comprehend it. That move shattered AlphaGo's evaluation system, forced a series of irrational responses, and ultimately gave Lee Sedol the only victory humanity achieved against early AlphaGo. That move had been hailed worldwide as the Hand of God. Of course, the AlphaGo of that era still had limits. Its strength exceeded that of all human players, but its back could still be seen. Later Ace would never allow such a flaw. KG, the 8-time world champion in Rei's previous life, once said bluntly, if AI gives me 2 stones, I lose for sure. If it gives me 3 stones, I might win, but I'll still lose most of the time. Rika, naturally, knew none of this. She only looked at Rei with open skepticism. Rei, meanwhile, calmly produced the explanation he had prepared. This game, he said, was played between 2 people I knew in middle school. I'm sorry, Rika, I can't tell you who they are. But I can guarantee this, he said quietly. In this game, a move representing the pinnacle of human wisdom appeared. The Hand of God? Rika asked. She didn't mock him. But it was obvious, she didn't truly believe him. With Rei's Go level, how could he possibly identify a game worthy of such a title? Rei didn't argue. Instead, he calmly took out the Go board from his house. Then, stone by stone, he began to recreate the 4th game of Lee Sedol vs. AlphaGo, right there in front of her. At first, Rika's expression was relaxed. The opening followed standard Josuke, nothing unusual. But as the game progressed, her posture slowly straightened. Her smile disappeared. Her eyes sharpened. By the time the board reached the mid-game, Rika's breathing had unconsciously slowed.
Thanks for listening.